Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Anman, your host for the next few hours, along with Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Bruce is here.
Bruce is here in Newport Richey, Florida.
Just soaking the rain.
Soaking up the rays. It's a gorgeous day. It's like paradise here.
The rain.
The rain?
No rain, huh?
No rain.
Oh. Isn't that nice when you can leave when it's snowing and go when it's nice and warm and sunny? Anyway, our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by that VidBlast, the guy Tom Sinclair, and by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. And today is February 16th.
Amnon.
Yes, sir.
You forgot Steve.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Steve is here. I forgot. Oh, Steve. Oh, I can't believe I didn't.
Howdy, partners.
That.
Yes. How could you forget me? I'm 6'7", for goodness sake. I know I'm sat down, but come on.
That's the thing. I only see your feet on the monitor. I don't see your whole.
You only see up to my knees, so you think, oh, it's just a couple of matchsticks over there.
Oh, how you doing, Steve?
Awesome, thank you. In fact, I'm in quite a good mood today. I've actually no idea what. It could be the fact that I went out into the garden earlier to get some logs from my shed, and it was actually warm. The sun was beating down on my back. I thought, hang on a minute, something's wrong. It's warm. I can feel the warmth on my back. What the nurse going on?
That's nice.
So what's your actual temperature there?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, what would you estimate?
I wouldn't dream to estimate such a thing. You carry on talking, and I'll blurt it in a minute when I've looked at the website.
Very good. Very good. We need that information.
What is the weather?
Please carry on.
What is the weather in general over there, Steve?
Rainy. It's a typical March. It's fairly rainy, windy.
Oh.
Well, yes, I know it's February, but it's sort of months are all higgledy-piggledy at the moment. It's a typical sort of March weather we're getting. High winds.
Wait a minute. Write that down. Higgly-piggly.
What
That's
is it?
Another.
Higgly-piggly.
Higgly-piggly.
Higgly.
Is that anything like Piggly Wiggly?
Almost identical. I think it might be its what do you call it? Half sister.
I understand.
Yeah. At the moment, it's the temperature is approximately 9 degrees Celsius. Do you want that in English money?
It would be good.
Okay, in English money, or American money as you know it, about 48.
Wow.
Okay.
That's hot.
Now, a little bit of trivia for
hot.
you. Obviously, Mike and Amnon know that we have a grocery chain over here, used to called Piggly Wiggly.
I think
Still
that's...
is.
Well, okay, there's a convenience store in the Panhandle of Florida called Hoggly Woggly. Serious.
Hoggly woggly.
Yeah.
Well, Joan Rivers used to always talk about the grocery chain A&P merging with Stop and Shop. She thought it was a good idea. Then they could have a chain of stores called Stop and P.
Did she really say that?
She did.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, I'm just making sure everything here is right. I need to have a
good
list.
luck with that.
I really have. Mike, thank you.
There you go. One for the non-English speaking ones is a definition of higgledy-piggledy out there.
Say what?
What? I said that's a definition for the non-English speaking.
What is the definition of hoggly?
Higgledy-piggledy. In utter disorder or confusion. Funnily enough, it says the American Heritage Dictionary. And yet you hadn't heard of it. Isn't that weird?
That's that particular definition, not the definition in general.
It's the website it's on, I believe. It's the free dictionary by somebody or other. But I'm not advertising because I don't believe in it.
Listen to this one. The BBC provides some insights into the next generation satellites being built for Google by contractor Digital Globe in Colorado. The resolution of these satellites' cameras is sufficient to resolve objects that are only 25 centimeters wide. Unfortunately, the public will be allowed only half that image quality. Guess who's going to get the best quality?
Google.
U.S. military. How does that fit into here?
Well, they don't own the airspace.
I mean, do you think that the government is paying Google for that, or you
They
think
don't have
that
to
it's
pay them.
What?
They can tell them they can't put up the satellite.
Oh, I see. Yeah. The light comes in through a barrel structure pointed at the Earth, and it is bounced around by a series of mirrors before being focused into a CCD sensor. The big difference? Apart from the size, between this and a typical handheld digital camera is that the spacecraft will not just take snapshots but continuous images along thin strips of land and sea.
Where will all this data be stored?
Yeah,
NSA is going to cover it for us.
Okay.
it's gonna be somewhere in where is it? Idaho? Where's the
Utah.
Utah.
It had an H in it.
But it's interesting that the government is involved with that. But I guess
Interesting.
Yeah, I understand.
How could it be otherwise?
I think I read somewhere that
could it
Utah
be?
isn't particularly happy having NSA sort of nerve center there. And I don't know whether it's correct or not, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they're refusing to supply them, I don't know, some water or sewage removal or something or another, just so that it's going to make it difficult for them to be there. It might be wrong. It might have been a con or a joke type thing, but I'm sure I read somewhere that they weren't overly impressed with what they were doing.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at Google Earth, or when you go and you look at the maps and you say satellites, that stuff is old.
Some of these, I was looking at some Google pictures yesterday, and they were stunning.
I don't know. When
It
I
depends.
go look
Look, they're going down every street in the United States. That takes a little while. So some of them are going to be older than others. But I went to one website. I don't remember what it was. It may have been a real estate or whatever. But they were using the Google Images. They had a moving GIF picture on the website that was the entire 360-degree scan from the camera at the position that was taken in front of that particular property. It was sitting there. The picture was just rotating. You could sit there and watch this 360-degree panoramic view of that location. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I'm talking about the satellite pictures.
Right, but don't you think they're eventually going to try to use satellite maybe to replace some of their driving down the street Google images? Maybe, I don't know. I'm guessing. I know I would.
Yeah, when I look at our house on Google Maps, it's about 2.5 years.
Ours is more recent than that. They've redone ours at least once.
Morning, Andrew. But it's getting to be where Google is in the spying business now. I mean,
Nah.
big time. They always were on us, but now they're on everybody.
What are we going to do?
And nothing we can do, and we're not going to do anything. Just make sure that when you go outside, you don't do anything that I wouldn't be doing.
Well, safe on that one.
Well, what'd you say? Down to 25 centimeters? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, that'll help them to be able to distinguish between Waleed and Rashid. I mean, you don't want to take out the wrong person, right?
I don't know.
Let's not go there.
I was reading an article this week about how when we have police situations here in the country, that people are beginning to report seeing more and more drones overhead over these crime scenes. But
Is that a bad thing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, RoboCop's come out this week. I mean, what are we going to end up with here? I mean, can you imagine Andrew Zarian in one of those suits just going postal on his community?
Actually, I could.
Yeah, I can picture that quite easily.
I saw a rather interesting picture of Andrew online. Did you see that?
Which one?
The one with is all kind of blue tape on it.
Gaffer man.
Who put it on?
Yes, I witnessed it live and in person.
Oh, boy.
It was a traumatic event.
So one of the things I'm interested in, I'm sure Andrew or Amnon would have probably brought this up, but since you guys talk about it quite frequently, what are your thoughts about this Comcast attempt to merge with Time Warner? I mean, you guys are on.
What attempt? I thought it's a done deal.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal unless it's.
Not unless it wasn't a done deal yesterday when I was listening to the Tech Guy show, hoping that the government would put a stop to this.
Yeah.
It can't be any worse than it is now.
Oh, yes, it could.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You give them that kind of monopoly, and there's already some anecdotal data that Comcast is throttling Netflix. One guy did a little test on streaming Netflix on his Comcast connection, and then he did a VPN proxy type thing, and his speed was like 10 times faster. This whole net neutrality thing, I don't trust Comcast. Leo was saying yesterday it's the worst corporation in the United States of America right now.
Which, Comcast?
Comcast, that's what he said. Yeah. Now I'm not necessarily agreeing with him, but he was pretty strong yesterday on how bad this would be.
All I know is everybody that I know that's in Comcast territory had 10 megabits up for years now, and did not pay as much as we do as at the time, even for 1.5 up.
Yeah, it's not so much that 10 megabits up; it's what's going to give you down when you start streaming Netflix and Hulu Plus and Amazon and stuff instead of what they're offering.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be worse than Time Warner. I don't know. I don't see how it could be, but you always hold out hope.
I don't know, but if any of you want to see if you're being throttled, there is a site, netneutralitytest.com. netneutralitytest.com. And you can do a speed test over there and choose different services and see if they are throttling you to one or the other. Yeah, people think that they're throttling. Some people have, of course, I mean, when you go, it's just like doing speed test, Bruce. I mean, you can test the speed between you and your provider, and it's 30, and then you can go to speedtest.net, and suddenly it's 20. There's a lot of
variability.
You have to do it a few times, different times a day, a few days to see a pattern. You can't just do it
I'm not
once.
talking about speed test. I'm talking about streaming a Netflix video live under one circumstance and then doing this VPN proxy thing and doing the same identical thing not 2 or 3 minutes later and getting something completely different.
Yeah, but you remember one thing. I mean, he wasn't doing the VPN to Netflix. He was going somewhere else. It could be that there was some problem in routers to Netflix, to the path from Netflix to him, that slowed it down. That's what I'm saying.
These guys are in the fight for their life, and I just simply don't trust them. And I'm not paranoid. I don't have a conspiracy theorist view, but diligence is required of everybody that cares about the internet and doing what we're doing right now to stay on top of these guys. Don't expect them to do the right thing without somebody holding it over them.
Right, it's NBC.
The interesting thing, and maybe somebody can explain it to me, that looks real puzzling, they didn't get a penny for it. It's all for stock.
Well, that's stock is money too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, normally you go for both, and this is just for exchanging stocks. Does that mean that Time Warner is really trying to get rid of it and say, yeah, okay, we'll just do it for that. Don't worry about that.
I wouldn't have a clue.
I'm wondering. Yeah, $65 billion in stock, Andrew says, but I'm wondering what would happen when they actually do it, if they do it, if it's going to go down. I mean, it's like getting Bitcoins. What happens when it goes down? Suddenly the 65 billion of stock today are worth 10 billion when you get it. If Time Warner is not getting any cash, I don't know. What does Andrew say? Andrew, why don't you call in? Andrew's saying they cap your internet at what? 300 gigs. That's not enough for me.
Another big story this week, and if I'm getting ahead of you, let me know.
No, you go ahead.
While I was down here this week, of course, I had the opportunity to take my daughter and granddaughter out for a special Valentine's Day celebration, and we went to a really nice Italian restaurant beachside, and just had a really great time. But before that, my granddaughter, she's 21. She goes to Eastern Florida University, and she bought a Chromebook. She bought an Acer C720. And she'd been playing around with it a little bit, but she was waiting for Poppy to get down here and do his magic on it. So and my daughter's a big Linux person. She works for a company out of Chicago now that designs Drupal websites. So I put Ubuntu on it and showed her how to do all this magic. And it's kind of interesting. Eastern Florida University, which used to be Brevard Community College, but now has become a full 4-year state school. You can't access their college system on any browser except Mozilla or Firefox. So, of course, I was able to install Firefox on the Ubuntu side. And, of course, having the Intel Haswell processor, she's able to run all the Linux programs. So I put Skype on there for her. But I found out that all the students get a free Office 365 account. So
Wow.
she was able to log into her Office 365 account on the Chrome OS side using the Chrome browser, or on the Linux side using the Firefox browser. And I was showing her, she was asking me questions about, how do I submit my papers that I do? And you log into easternflorida.edu, and there's this little, I use a system called Angel, which gives you access to all of your classes and your folders where you upload your essays or your assignments and stuff like that. And so on Office 365, she creates the document, which saves it automatically in the cloud on SkyDrive, or you could click File, Save As, and it gives you the option to download it, which then goes into the download folder on the file structure on the Chromebook. And then she just launches Angel, clicks Browse for the file, and goes to the download folder and uploads it to her teacher. So anyway, it was really cool to see all that happening, and then also to see this week where Google is looking to bring Windows apps to Chrome OS by working out this deal with VMware. And it's kind of like deja vu going back to this thin client kind of thing. I sent the article to one of the guys in our IT department who informed me that they were that they had already heard about this and were looking seriously at this as a way of cutting costs and running these. This is a business function right now. This is not for the average consumer, but running these servers and being able to have people using a Chrome-powered, LG's come out with this all-in-one 22-inch, so whatever it is, big all-in-one type box, but could be quite a cost savings. I think Microsoft's got reason to be a little bit more nervous. I don't think their Scroogle campaign is working, and I don't want to make this a conversation about Chromebook, but I just thought it was an interesting move on Google's part.
Yes, it is.
Did any of you guys were any of you guys involved in computing back in the day using thin clients? I was never a part of that, but
I was always fat.
It was bad?
No, I said I was always fat. All my clients were fat.
Okay.
A couple of stores I worked in used like a couple of till software terminals working off of wouldn't call it a server, but one main PC. That's sort of a thin client type thing.
Yeah, I mean, right now we got people who sometimes work off site and they use Citrix, and Citrix has always been a little flaky, but the opportunity here for them to save considerably, financially on setting these people up and running this client from VMware, keeping all your secure data on your servers. If somebody was to lose their device or something else like that, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. So I'm going to be following the story with great interest. We're looking at doing something as a company in one way or the other, sometime in the September timeframe.
Morning, Andrew.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Mega dittos.
It's Gaffman.
What's going on?
You tell us.
Oh, boy. Gaffer Man hit me over the head with something. That's what it feels like.
I understand.
With all that tape, I have to say it was pretty tacky.
It's the fumes in the adhesive that.
By the way, I just want to say it. I was really sober when I did that.
Yeah, right.
That's the scary part.
Amnon saw my dance too. There was a little dance that he did. He hid and then he popped out of nowhere. It was something.
That was something. Yeah.
If people don't know what we're talking about, you could go to Nick's Twitter or my Twitter. It's posted there. I have a rant. I'm going to rant for a minute.
Go ahead and rant.
Do you guys like FedEx? Anybody here actually like FedEx?
I do.
You do?
I do.
I hate them. They really... The only company that could do shipping decently is UPS, in my opinion. FedEx is just the worst. They don't care about what they're shipping. They don't care how it gets there. And I've been having the problem started with them about 2 years ago. I ordered an iPhone, and I was looking at the tracking, and it never showed up. It said delivered, and it never showed up. It said delivered and signed for. So I call them up, and they said, nope, we delivered it. And I said, who signed for it? And he goes, okay, let's find out. They called me back, and they said, well, he said that a guy, dark hair, tan, he opened the door and he signed it, and his name was Andrew. Well, that's me. I never signed for anything. I open up an investigation. They're looking into it. Turns out the guy delivered it to the wrong house.
Uh-oh.
And he delivered it 3 blocks away to somebody that's not me at all. And the only reason why we found out is because the guy actually came to the house and brought it. He was an older guy. He goes, I'm sorry they brought this to me. And they left it in front of my house. The guy that same day did deliver something to my house. He delivered, I think it was like a case for an iPhone. And he knows my name because he asked me what my name was when he was putting it in the computer. So he lied. He made up the entire story. So that was the first time I had a problem with them. After that, it's always been bad. Yesterday, I was supposed to get 2 shipments. One was a box of wires, and the other one was another box of wires. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's how Amazon packed it. I received one. I found one, actually, in the snow. The guy came, and he threw it in the snow because he didn't want to walk up my stairs, even though they were clean. It was soaking wet, the box. And the other box is still at the sorting facility, and it says, problem beyond our control.
Snow.
There was no snow when the delivery was being made.
What about at the warehouse? Do you know which warehouse it's in?
Maspeth, not too far from me, maybe 4 miles away.
And no snow?
No snow.
Well, FedEx used to have a slogan that said when it positively, absolutely has to be there overnight. And over time, because of unions, they had to modify that. And now it's when it has to absolutely, positively be there overnight unless we don't get it there.
So this had 2 days shipping also.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy thing. I ordered this on Tuesday.
They did get it over there, but the over there wasn't the right place.
Wasn't right over there.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
4 miles away. So
a friend of mine ordered a Motorola X, and it was delivered by FedEx, and he was really excited about it. And so, his office is he lives in New Orleans. His office is in his garage, and happened to have the garage door up, and he's like most of us techie guys. He's looking forward to the new device, and he sees a FedEx truck in the area, and he knows that his Moto X is out for delivery, but the truck never comes to his house. It makes a stop, 3 houses down. And finally, he gets curious enough to go down there, and there's his package with his name on it in a house 3 doors down. And, so that's the most recent experience I've heard somebody talk about FedEx.
What are your options?
Here's the shipping.
UPS.
So everything was fine. 8 o'clock yesterday, it arrived. I'm sorry, 6 o'clock yesterday, it arrived at the sorting facility. And then it went to Maspeth, which is, I guess, where they ship it from. The shipment exception, delay beyond our control. I don't know what that means.
That's how they can put it there, and you can't question it because you don't know what it means.
And then I got an email saying it's going to take another 1 to 2 business days to get me the package.
Well, beyond our control means they don't have to reimburse you for the shipping you paid for.
Yeah.
Bruce, you do mean DHL, right?
I mean DHL, yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't even aware of DHL until I was traveling, doing some international traveling, and found out that, DHL is huge as far as, international shipping into Africa and places like that.
I remember, 10, 15 years ago, a UPS guy, not the driver, knocks on the door, shows me his ID, and says that the driver said that they drop a package with a wall clock on it that was not supposed to come to us. And I said, I'm sorry, I haven't seen anything like this. But that driver did drop a couple of weeks before that some pills. I mean, a prescription box from somewhere. And I went over to the neighbors and said, this is yours. So I told the guy, I said, yeah, but this driver is really, I mean, there's something wrong. He asked if he could come in. I said, sure. We sat down. He looked around. I knew he was looking to see if a clock. I said, look, come on. Just to make you feel better, I'll walk you around and show you.
Show him what?
On the walls, if there's a clock somewhere. I mean, you know me. If I don't do anything wrong, I'm not worried about that. So we just kind of walked in the living room and in the office and all that. And he said, okay, I'm satisfied. And the driver never came back. I don't know if he lost his job or if they moved him somewhere else. But it was, they do investigate these things.
Yeah. Hey, when I was living in Melbourne, Florida, I was driving, I believe it was on Palm Bay Road, and there was a UPS driver who was just driving like a maniac. He was cutting people off. He was speeding. I mean, there were a lot of people that were really upset with this guy. They were hollering at him, and I couldn't get his tag number or anything, but I did call and report, and the one identifying thing that got this guy in trouble was he had a towel, like a full-size bath towel, tied onto his rearview mirror. I guess he used it for wiping the sweat because it was in the summertime. And UPS knew exactly who this guy was by that identification.
Mm-hmm.
And but anyway, most of them are really, really good, though. That's the only bad experience I ever had with UPS was that guy.
Yeah, it's always been perfect for us. I've never had a problem. The guy's always on time. And even if it's a different person, they're always on time. The other problem now I have is USPS. I hate ordering a package because the tracking is awful. But, recently our mailman changed. The one that we had retired, and we have this new guy, and the guy is totally inconsistent. He doesn't show up on time. Yesterday he showed up with our mail at 6 p.m. We get it at 11.
I understand what Andrew said to me. Now, you guys get this. Let's see if you have the same reaction I did. Andrew said, my mailman is supposed to be here at 11:40, and he's late.
Yep.
Come on, Andrew.
He has to be on a schedule. I want consistency. Or show up show up every day at the same time. There's no reason why you're late by 4 or 5 hours.
Andrew, this is government. You have zero say-so in it.
Well, I'm going to tell him something.
Go
And the other thing that this idiot does, he takes the mail, and let's say there's like a junk magazine, he puts it in the magazine.
Oh.
So if you're taking the mail, you're like, oh, this is all I got. You're throwing it out.
You want to think yourself lucky. At least you have a National Postal Service. We don't anymore. It used to be called Royal Mail, but they've sold it.
So who's doing your mail now?
Anybody that can get the cheapest quote in.
Did you ever get that letter that Amnon sent you?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I've been looking for it, but nope. I mean, I always check my junk mail or recycle the junk mail, but no, I didn't get a letter.
A letter
come through.
It looks official from Delta Force, a printed one.
No, I would have known if it said Delta Force, I would have seen it, but that seems weird that it hasn't come through. I don't know if I've mentioned it before about DHL. Well, yeah, that's they say you shouldn't send money in the post, isn't it? DHL, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Have I mentioned anything about DHL before, a delivery service?
I don't recall that you have.
Oh, that's good then in that case. And pin back your ears because I nearly wet myself when I heard this. DHL stands for Drop It, Hide It, Lose It.
Well, there is
First time
that.
I heard that, I nearly fell over laughing. Drop it, hide it, lose it. That's brilliant.
The problem that I have with FedEx is that they change drivers.
Yeah. All the time.
So often. I mean, and we have a front door that we never use. And because we always use the side door. And I get to the point now where I have to go and check the steps on the front door because that's where FedEx would leave packages. UPS knows where to bring it. And I've been telling them when I see them and I see them walking there on the camera, and I'll go out and say, nah, this door. But then the next day it'll be somebody else. So I don't know if they have a lot of turnover. I mean, the UPS driver that we have now been there for quite a few years.
Well, soon this will be distant memory as Amazon's drones take over.
Wow.
Do you guys get mail when it rains or snows? Like if it's heavy snow or heavy rain, do you get mail?
Yeah.
Normally it comes through
Supposed
late,
Not us.
and very often it'll come
Our
through
mailman decides
wet.
it's time to go home.
We did not get mail, when was it? Thursday? Friday. No, what was the bad day? When did it snow, Mike? It was
It's not Wednesday.
Wednesday, so it was Thursday. And I went and looked on the surveillance cameras, and I speeded up for the whole day. He never came down the street.
You know, that's actually a good idea.
What?
The next time you get into an argument with UPS or FedEx about a delivery, I'm sorry, we went out to deliver to your house and no one was there. So no, I have the surveillance cameras. If you'll send someone by here, we'll sit here and go through them and we'll prove that you're lying.
Oh, they'll probably say, oh, yeah, but send us the digital copy. No, sorry, it's videotape.
No.
And they'll probably go, this is the 20th century.
Yeah.
And you go, no, actually, you're wrong. It's 21st century.
Yeah.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And the rant line, never mind.
Sorry, I was quiet for a little while. I was catching up with a very old friend. Well, he's actually very old too, but somebody I hadn't been speaking to for quite some time. And it's nice to see them in the chat interface as well. Jorvik. Hello, Mike. Nice to see you.
Hey, Amnon.
Yes, sir.
Did you see Mike Versteeg is working on VidBlaster for Mac?
Are you serious?
That's BS.
Really?
That's BS.
No, he's working on it.
I don't believe it.
He just tweeted it. He's looking for people to test.
Is he giving the Mac with it?
I don't
If
know
he
what the hell
sends me a Mac Air, I'll give it a test for him.
Mac beta testers. Looking for Mac beta testers. He posted on February 6th. Nobody responded, and then he posted again today. Still looking for testers in all categories, including Mac beta testers.
I don't know. I really find it hard to believe that this.
It's not April yet, is it?
The
April
what?
Fools? It's not April yet, is it? April Fools?
No, it's not. Good point. Mike, I think Nick took your advice
As
seriously.
well he should.
Yeah.
What advice?
Told him not to set the alarm clock.
No.
He
Vince
gets
is
up really
saying-
early all during the week. He needs to take a break too. And he was traumatized last night after Gaffer Man. He probably couldn't go to sleep.
Gafferman is terrifying. He haunted me all night. But I find it funny that Mike's working on it now after all these years. Like there's no other problems with software. He's working on it.
Yeah.
The performance on Windows, it's perfect right now.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys see this story? It's in Google News. It's called Flappy Envy. Google, Apple block games with Flappy titles. So Flappy Pig, Flappy Superhero, Flappy Plane, call it Flappy Fever, but numerous games with Flappy in the title are cropping up in app stores, and Google and Apple are having none of it. Take Flappy Dodge, for example. So anyway, anything with Flappy in it, they're killing in the app stores.
So why are they doing that? I'm just curious why they're getting rid of it.
Save the children.
Well, we have to save the children.
Well, it's a bit like the UK government at the moment, isn't it? They've got this UK porn filter that David Cameron is instigated and put into place. It's an absolute failure. It's blocking sites that have absolutely nothing to do with child porn. It's blocking sites where children can go for information, for instance, if they're being abused by their teachers, their parents, whatever, to get information on what they can do, what help's available to them. It's blocking those kind of sites. So it's actually doing more harm than good, potentially, by the looks of it. And now it's like the thin edge of the wedge that they've basically got everybody saying, oh, yeah, we need to save the children. Yes, we need to protect our children from seeing nasty things that they might see online. And we all knew that it was going to be the thin edge of the wedge. And yet now what's happening is they're also putting on blog pages and other sites like, WordPress pages and things like that are to do with speech that the government doesn't want the public to hear or to be able to get a hold of and read. And there's loads of sites that are sort of all of a sudden incorporated within this child filter thing, which is ludicrous. And you've got there's no appeal process. You just have to contact whoever it might be, and then when they get around to it, you may get your page unblocked if you're lucky. It's disgusting.
But how do you even know? I mean, that's the thing. Like, how would I know that my page is blocked in the UK? I wouldn't.
Well, you wouldn't, apart from the people maybe contacting you by email if they had a previous, contact with you and say, well, I can't get to your page all of a sudden. It's coming back and saying your page is, containing content that may be harmful to children, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know it until that's happened. I read somewhere there was the government actually censored a Twitter account, and Twitter actually did censor it, which is very unlike them, which was taking the mickey out of a Department of Work and Pensions, which is our sort of social security system over here. It was basically tweeting things as if they had come from, although it did say on the Twitter account, it isn't anything to do with this. It says, Department of Work and Pensions, not. I mean, how can you look at that and think, oh, this definitely must be a genuine account? It says not on it, for goodness sake. Well, the government managed to get that account removed off of Twitter. And then several hours later, Twitter realized that, well, actually, this is a parody account, and, that's perfectly okay and perfectly legal. So they put it back up again. But there was a fairly big outcry over here because you think, well, hang on, aren't we entitled to free speech? And surely parody is one of the things that is allowed. But it appeared that the government can just snap its fingers and say, no, don't want people talking about that. Don't want people reading that. It's shocking. Welcome to the censorship 1984 style.
It's one other thing on this Flappy Bird thing. You probably heard about it, but people were selling their phones that had Flappy Bird on it on eBay, and they were selling them for extraordinary amounts of money. But the news is that eBay has now put the kibosh. You cannot sell your Flappy Bird phone on eBay.
Again, what is wrong with selling that? If somebody's prepared to pay $1,000, I think, which somebody did pay for one,
yeah.
Who are they to say, no, you can't do business on our site? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm looking at one here. It says Apple iPhone 16 gig, space gray Verizon with Flappy Bird, $7,100.
That is insane. But I mean, there's always some idiot out there that will buy it.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's that stupid, fine. But I can understand you want to protect people when you don't want people to get caught in a scam and thing. But when something is blatantly that obvious that, either you've got more money or more money than sense, fine, let them go on with it. If people are prepared to pay it, let them pay it.
So I'm curious. I mean, certainly anybody who would have this really graphic gaffer tape display has tried Flappy Bird. So I'm wondering, Andrew, what's your highest Flappy Bird score?
1.
My granddaughter's was 25, and our worship leader's 13-year-old daughter was 125. I couldn't.
I don't know. Maybe it's a younger kid's game. I don't know. I played it for like 5 minutes. I got like 1 or 2, and then I got really frustrated, and it was stressing me, so I deleted the game.
Did you get angry?
I got very angry.
Yeah, that's when he had to wrap himself.
Did you go out with your machine gun and shoot anybody?
I am
Then I
very,
started
very
clapping my
angry.
Here's a guy in Raleigh selling my phone that had the app Flappy Bird. Message me for more information. I just posted the link.
Now.
I just posted a link in chat that is a site called AdHunter, AdHuntr.com, that searches all of the Craigslist listings in the United States. I did a search for Flappy Bird, and if you really had to have it, I imagine one of these would solve your problem. I can install Flappy Bird on your phone. It is easy and takes no more than 3 minutes. $75 per device, $50 for 3 or more, only for iOS, not Android.
Wow.
People don't realize how easy it is to install a game on Android. You just need the APK. If someone rips the APK, I'm sure someone has. You could install that right away on it.
Yeah.
Well, talking about all these, Windows Phone has been struggling for market share, largely due to a serious lack of developers willing to invest their time in what one might consider a niche market. Statistically speaking, Android has more than 1.1 million apps for Windows Phone, 200,000 plus. Well, according to unnamed sources informing The Verge, Microsoft may soon integrate/allow Android applications into both Windows and Windows Phone. This follows the recent debate over whether Microsoft should try to fork Android. Peter Bratt made the point that doing so would be extremely difficult and probably not worth Microsoft's time. Ben Thompson has an insight post about how Microsoft's real decision is whether to focus on devices or services. I don't understand why it'll be so much. It won't be worth Microsoft if they just have to maybe allow a hook or something, because independent developers will do that.
They're not going to do it. They're not doing that.
No.
They have their own ecosystem, their own platform, their own coding. That's what they're supporting. That's who they want. They want those people to develop in that code. But Microsoft, fascinatingly enough, Nokia in emerging markets is releasing an Android phone.
Yep.
And it's been totally torn apart. It doesn't look like Android. It actually looks like Windows Phone.
Yeah, I mean, if you need the numbers, you have to. And talk about Apple or OS.
Oh, no.
SecureMac.com has discovered a new Trojan horse for Mac OS X called OSX/CoinThief.A, which spies on web traffic to steal bitcoins. This malware has been found in the wild along with numerous reports of stolen coins. The malware, which comes disguised as an app to send and receive payments on Bitcoin stealth addresses, instead covertly monitors all web traffic in order to steal login info for Bitcoin wallets. This is on OS X, guys. It's probably a hoax, right, Mike?
Yeah, they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Don't download something you're not supposed to. That's all.
Well,
But I do have a legitimate question that is not part of the the Mac PC debate. It's a sincere question. First part is a little editorializing, but the question is legitimate, because there are people now, these little Apple fanboys are going out saying, okay, Apple's taking over the PC market. Apple is now ahead of Microsoft, because they ran the numbers, including all the iPads, iPhones, whatever they could do. They added all that in, added it up, and compared that against Microsoft Windows PC sales. And guess what? Apple's number was bigger than Microsoft's number. Now, they did not include the Xbox. They did not include the Windows phones, and they got all these little reasons about why that's fair and reasonable, which none of which makes any sense to me, nor do I care about. But my question is this. There were, even in reading about the topic, there were quite a few articles about how Apple PCs, Apple computers are growing at a great rate, and eventually they're going to take over the lesser quality Windows and all that propaganda and so forth. And then I found an article from a legitimate service other than a Mac Rumors or Mac Fun or whatever the Mac sites are, and it said that Apple actually lost PC market share in 2012. Or was it 2013? 2013, they actually lost share. Not so much because they did anything wrong or because their sales dropped, but because other manufacturers had successful marketing campaigns and they were able to get better sales on certain models of their computers. I don't remember which ones they were. But here's the legitimate part of the question. How, and actually I think this is aimed at you, Andrew, how does Apple even remotely consider the possibility of whacking the PC market if their computers are not satisfactory for games?
They're not going to whack the PC market. They have a nice little piece in the PC market. It's small. We're talking 11%, 15%, depending on when the test was done. But
or 5.
They're doing quite well in the PC market when you look at public perception, right? You look at their users. Their users love it. They're happy with it. You look on the Microsoft side. I'm curious on what user perception is on the Microsoft side. It probably will not be as high as the Apple side as far as happiness with the operating system,
especially with Windows 8.
Especially with Windows 8.
No doubt. And again, this is where I have to constantly remind, I am not a Microsoft Windows defender. That is not my point in the least. I'm as critical of Windows 8 as the next person and some of the nonsense they do in other operating systems. I can entertain you with my complaints, but I just don't like such blatant misrepresentation of the way things are by either party. And for these little giggly fanboys to say, "Oh yes, Apple is going to put Microsoft out of business," it just ain't so. And the numbers, they always distort the numbers. Apple PC installed base is like 5% worldwide, and it's not climbing because of cost. They've got a good product. It does work well, and it's very profitable for them. So be it. But let's suppose that I mean, Andrew, I use, for here at my desk, I use all desktop computers. What are my choices if I decide to go all Apple? Mac Mini and Mac Pro, right?
On the desktop and iMac.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's an all-in-one.
Okay. But, they all are, right? They're all all-in-ones.
Yeah.
You can't, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to a Mac Mini?
I don't know.
What are you going to do to a Mac Pro?
Well, you can put cards in a Mac Pro.
No.
Thank goodness for USB.
No. You can't put cards in a Mac Pro.
You cannot install a PCI Express card in a Mac Pro.
Nope. The Mac Pro, it's everything is it's custom fitted. You cannot fit, and you cannot put. I think the RAM. You may be able to take out the RAM.
You got to be kidding me!
Wow, that's so exciting, isn't it? That's the only thing you've got to look forward to.
I thought
the hard drive is embedded, right? The hard drive is embedded.
I thought Stephen was saying that he had a Intensity Pro in a.
No. Remember, we're talking about the new Mac Pro. We're not talking about the old one. The old one was a tower PC. The new one is a cylinder.
Looks like a trash can.
Yeah.
Looks like a trash can. But what you can do with that is they have 6 Thunderbolt ports. So
there's no Thunderbolt devices to put into them yet, apart from maybe 2 hard drives.
Hard drive, capture devices, capture cards. You could do that.
And boy, are they expensive.
It's going to be a little bit like FireWire, isn't it? They jumped on FireWire, which, was okay for video and that kind of stuff, but it's going to be another FireWire unless manufacturers start jumping on and producing Thunderbolt devices.
So you cannot put internal drives in the Mac Pro.
And this is how this is the PC manufacturer's dream. They all are internally the like Dell and HP. They love this Mac Pro. This is what they want all their platforms to be.
Why?
They make it, you use it, and you throw it away, and that's it. They don't want you fiddling around and upgrading the RAM and upgrading the memory and all this stuff.
You know what the new Mac Pro reminds me of? one of those alarm clocks that when it goes off, it then falls on the floor onto its side and rolls to the other side of the room. So you've got to get up and turn it off.
I'll tell you, I mean, the best thing to buy if you want a desktop is the Mac Mini. It's an i5. It's 4 gigs of RAM. The thing is pretty solid, and it's $600.
But it runs OS 10.
Well, better than running Windows 8.
Yeah, true.
You're talking if you compare operating system to operating system right now, the latest operating systems, the OS 10 is a much better operating system than Windows.
And probably easier to learn too.
Easier to learn, and it's seamless. It's a much better operating system.
In what way?
It's familiar to a lot of people. They understand what a desktop is. They understand where things go. But I've always felt that OS 10 has been a far more responsive operating system than Windows has been. I'm going based on, let's say, OS, let's say 10.6 and on. I wasn't a fan of Tiger, so.
Yeah, I don't agree with you, but that's okay.
It's all right. You don't have to.
I mean, my PCs, I bought a MacBook Air, brand new, 2011. Latest, greatest, $1,500 by the time it was done. And my $300 PCs were faster.
What kind of specs were they?
On what?
The PC.
Well, at that time, they were sort of the same specs. It was a dual-core CPU with 4 gig of RAM. Those were Windows 7.
I've always felt like from what I've used, I guess it's different depending on what your needs are, but for everyday use, I've always felt that the Macs have been much quicker when you're talking about the same specs, and that's only attributed to the OS.
And I think that's a biased opinion, and that's fine, because I think that, and I've said here time and time again, Apple has created, without a question, the single most enviable customer base that any company could hope for. Their fans, their Apple fanboys, they love everything the company does. Even when they make a mistake, they think it's the best mistake that's ever been made. When they screw up, oh boy, but that's okay. They've done so much right. We don't have to. I mean, any company would kill to have that sort of loyalty from its fan base, and they deserve major kudos for being able to do that. Now, I think it's somewhat amusing that some of the things that people advocate when they say, for example, that Macs don't need as much RAM as PCs because they've learned how to use the memory better. It's pure nonsense. That's just pure arithmetic. That doesn't make any sense. So, but other than that, when you get down to the true analysis of what's going on under the hood, I mean, the hardware is really identical to all other modern hardware. It's a generation behind with this dual core nonsense they're still selling, but it's all made by Foxconn. Dell's.
I don't think they're selling dual cores. They're not selling the Core 2s.
They were last time I checked, although I will admit I haven't.
It's all Haswell based now.
Well, I mean, that's good to know because I haven't checked in several months. But like I went to, at one point I thought, because I mean, I don't like to just criticize for no reason. I mean, that makes me as bad as an Apple fanboy if I just run my mouth with nothing to back it up. And at one point I considered buying a Mac Mini just to have it here for two reasons. One, my first Mac never should have been a laptop or a MacBook Air. It either should have been a MacBook Pro or it should have been a Mac Mini, something like that. It just what I bought was not what I should have done for my first experience. It didn't do what I wanted. But that being said, when I looked at the Mac Minis, which I'm trying to find it now on their website, everything was dual core, and I have no desire for that. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, they have an i3s and i5s, and I thought there was even an i7 on the Mac.
I think so too, but that one was $1,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were more.
What are we saying? What about the i3?
I can't even navigate their darn website. Where the heck is the configuration?
Apple doesn't have i3s. They don't use i3s.
Hello, Nick.
Good morning.
You slept good, huh?
I'm sorry.
No? What do you mean? You see?
This is all Andrew's fault that I'm here late.
Gaffer man.
He had me watching these stupid public access prank calls for like 3 hours.
It wasn't me. It was Gaffer Man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was literally up till 2 o'clock watching those, Andrew. Because of you. No,
Okay.
Andrew.
their i5 is a dual core, which I think is a total joke.
Processors up to 2 times faster, done and done. With third-generation Intel Core processors, Mac Mini keeps up with computers twice its size. You can choose a 2.5 gigahertz dual-core Intel Core i5, or go for an even more powerful 2.6 gigahertz quad-core Intel Core i7, for up to 2 times the performance of the previous generation dual-core Mac Mini. So yes, they're still selling dual cores.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
they
I
process
don't want to get off
it
on
in a different way. That it's.
I don't
much
want to get off
faster.
on a big Apple thing. The question was, it's a sincere question. Nick, maybe you can weigh in unemotionally on this one. Why is, and I really don't understand the answer to the question. I'm not playing as stupid as I look. Why does Apple not care about the gamer market?
Well, I think they're stupid that they don't. I mean, look how much Microsoft and Sony has made in the last 6 months with the launch of the new consoles. I think the biggest issue is they wouldn't be able to keep up with the power, and the price would be ridiculous.
What do you think,
pay,
Andrew?
Nobody's going to pay $1,000 to play a video game.
Yeah,
But that's what Apple would charge.
It's not there. It's like saying why isn't Android in the PC market? You know, they don't care for the gamer market. And you know what? If you want to play a game on there, developers are developing games. You can go and you buy a higher end PC, a higher end Mac. I could play a game on my MacBook Pro.
What percentage of, let me ask it this way then, what percentage of the gaming market does Apple have in your opinion?
Well, if they have 15% or 11% of the PC market, you would have to say maybe they have 2%.
That's irrelevant.
Are you including iPads and iPhones in that gaming?
Well, no. If you add iPads, if we talk about gaming, if we talk about mobile gaming,
we're talking about gaming like the Xbox.
Real computers.
That's not,
real
what
computers
they're focusing
gaming.
on. They don't care about that. The out-of-box gaming is
All right.
going to come speed of it.
I would venture to say that there are more people doing gaming on portable devices than are doing gaming on PC or game boxes.
I would highly disagree with that.
No, Nick, it's a very small percentage
I would highly
of
disagree.
people.
No, it's not.
Wait a minute. Let me ask Bruce. I mean, I know you're talking about things like iPads and those. Are you also talking about the consoles like the Xbox?
Well, no. I'm talking about portable devices, like even the portable things that the Sony devices and Nintendo devices, but also phones, iPads, Android tablets. I mean, you see a lot of people that are doing a lot of gaming in the airports and on planes and different places. I'm just throwing that out. I mean, obviously, I'm not a gamer, so my opinion is somewhat suspect. But I'm just saying, as far as sheer numbers, gaming has to include more than just consoles and PCs.
Well, let's look at the stats for a second. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, two of the leaders of last generation's console war, 160 million units were sold worldwide in 7 years. That is a tiny, tiny number. When you talk about how many iPads have been sold, how many iPhones have been sold, how many Android devices have been sold, the mobile market for gaming is much larger than the desktop or the console. Now, what kind of gaming are you talking about? You're not talking about playing Call of Duty. You're not talking about playing a high-end game. You're talking about playing quick, casual games, and that's the future of gaming. It's not these mega titles that are released and they sell 80 million units of those games. We're not talking about that. We're talking about easy games for the casual person. That's the future of the mobile platform and gaming platform. And you know what? Apple has that on lock right now.
I don't know. I play Pac-Man.
Well, I guess I don't understand, mate.
PC gaming is going away. It's not going to go away at all.
It's actually getting bigger.
Well, it's gonna
PC
get
gaming
small.
is getting bigger.
Yes, it is. And the reason it's getting bigger is because the new next generation is too expensive. This was a really big deal. The Xbox One is $500. You can buy a computer for $500 that will play any game that comes out on the Xbox One.
Are you guaranteed that? How well is it going to play it? Are you guaranteed
It
it's going
plays
to play
perfectly
it in a year?
fine.
How about in 2 years when new games come out? How about in 3 years?
No, but the whole point is people skipped out on this generation because the stuff's too expensive, and they could invest $500, $600, $700, $800 into a PC. I mean, and have it last for 5 years.
But I don't think it's expensive at all. It's $400 and $500. That's how much it's been forever.
Well,
It's always been that much.
the Xbox 360 was $400.
When it came out, I could have sworn
Yes, it was. Let's see.
it was $400. Okay, but you had no Kinect. So take away the
Yeah.
Kinect. Now it has the Kinect. If you add the camera to the PS4, it's going to be the same price. It's the same exact price.
Yeah, it is the exact same price, but people that already have a PC can play games on it.
I think for you it's easier, Nick. I think for you understand how it works. So
Well,
it
no, but I'm
works for you,
talking
but-
about in terms of the people that would buy an Xbox or PlayStation, the gaming market, the real gaming market. I guess I understand people play games on their iPad, but I wouldn't classify them as under the gaming market, right? They're not paying $60 for a game. Yes, they game, but I'm talking about people that are actively playing games. They already have a PC.
All right, so let's go back to my original question, and I'm still not convinced of the answer because we're losing people, so we'll have to get off of this in a minute. But I'm back to the original question. The hardware is Intel, so we know that it will support gaming. It's the same hardware that other computers use. So Apple has the hardware sufficiently capable of performing at a level that will allow you to operate the game. My understanding is that a lot of the same video cards that you can put into a PC, you at least used to be able to put into Macs so that you could get the same upgraded high-octane video cards. My question is this, and then we'll get off the subject. If Apple were to announce at their next major Orgasm Fest that we're going after the game market big time, you're now going to be able to play Angry Birds or whatever on any of your Mac products, would that not account for a significant increase in Mac sales to a new segment of the market?
Well, you could
Depending what-
play any game you want on the Mac. I mean,
Yeah,
Nick's argument is I don't think it's a software support side of things. I think Nick's argument is specs. It's not fast enough to play.
It's not fast enough to play games that are coming out today.
What, not fast enough at what level?
The video cards in the Macs are horrendous.
Okay, so it's the video
card in the
card.
Mac is comparable to a video card I have in a 6-year-old laptop.
Yeah,
So
but I mean,
because-
can you play it on an HP laptop that's $1,000?
Oh, for sure.
You can.
I have my mother's a $400 HP laptop, and when my desktop died, I used that for 2 weeks to game, and it wasn't great, but it played them. The video
don't
card is what the
necessarily
Mac
agree with
is
that,
lacking.
I
It's
think
only
the
the video
video
card.
cards are suitable to play the game. You may not play it on the highest resolution, and I don't think
Right.
most people have the specs to play it on highest resolution right now.
The
When they have
Intel
it-
HD 4000 is not a comparable graphics card.
All right, let me
that's-
drill down one more level.
Wait a minute, Nick. It's the GT 750
That comes with the
in the
MacBook
15,
Pro.
in the 15 inch in the MacBook Pro, and the 15 inch is the GT 750.
Yeah, that's $2,000. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, you know what?
I'm looking at the baseline one. I'm looking at the 13 inch. It's the Intel 4000, which is a total joke in terms of gaming.
All right, but let me drill down one more step, and then I promise we're done with this. So is what you are saying to me, Andrew and Nick, is that if Apple were to step their game up on video cards, they could be a player in the gaming market?
Yes.
They don't need to be. They don't need to be.
Why would they not want to be? I mean, to me, there are people. I've been in a Mac store probably 10 times in my life. And the last time I was in there, a guy was asking the salesman about gaming, and the guy just kind of sheepishly smiled and said, "Now, this is probably not what you're going to want to use for that."
You know, Mike, if the baseline MacBook Pro, the 13-inch one, had somewhat of a decent graphics card, I would really contemplate buying one.
That's my question right
The
there.
biggest thing with me with buying them, when I look and say I need a new laptop, I have a Chromebook and it works fine, but I need a laptop for when I'm traveling that I can do my web development stuff and also play games if I'd like to. The MacBook, the only thing that's keeping me back is the graphics card. It sucks.
And I suspect the reason that it does not have a better video card is because of a heat issue and battery life.
Well, I mean, the battery life in the MacBooks are great.
Not if it had an upgraded video card, it wouldn't be great.
No, in the 15-inch, they have a decent video card.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, I'm not spending $2,000 for a. I don't even know what video card this thing has.
All right, 919-518-9773.
Oh, no, it's an interesting thing because I do honestly think that, at least for myself, somebody that's interested in the Mac operating system, but there's just things like that hold me back from buying one. I'd love to have a MacBook. I just can't justify the price for the performance.
And in my opinion, Nick, if you're going to do Mac development, a Mac Mini would be perfectly fine for you so long as you have room for a second computer.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't have room for more monitors. So that's my big thing with the Mac Mini. I need a laptop. I don't have room.
Let's see who just called in.
This is Dan. How are you?
Hello.
Dan.
Hey.
I just wanted to comment on some of this Mac talk. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let me...
Walk away from the computer.
How's that?
That's fine. I mean, we can hear you. You are
Here's the
listening.
deal. Apple is not focused on competing with gaming machines at all. Their focus, according to Tim Cook, more than once has announced at several of his speeches that they're targeting the portable market, and it's more about young people going to college, scientific applications, Hollywood, and that's the only reason they really pushed out the new MacBook or the Mac Pro. And it is a modular system, so basically you're buying the brain and you attach everything else to it. But they have no interest in competing with the gaming segment because Apple as a company is relatively small. And a lot of people don't really know that, but they're not a huge company. And actually they're still considered somewhat of a niche company. So they're focusing on wearables. You'll be seeing the new iWatch later in third quarter. It'll be more geared towards medical applications, measuring heart rate, glucose, all kinds of things. And so they're going in an entirely different direction. But by and large, most of what Apple's focus is going to be on is portability. And they aggressively go after the younger market in college and those traveling internationally and those working in the scientific community.
Well,
see, Dan, I agree that they don't have to drop everything they're doing and go after the gaming market, but them simply upgrading the graphics card in the MacBook would make it a viable gaming machine. It's not like they have to do a complete overhaul. It's just one little piece. Upgrading that, I think, would put them in the game without having to completely make a whole new computer.
Well, and I understand what Dan is saying. He's saying that they have defined their goals, they've defined their targets. That's what they're going to focus on. I have a problem with that. I mean, that's fine. They are free to choose, at least at this point, they're free to choose what they want to do. My question really was more technical than it was marketing. I mean, they're masters at marketing when you can take that, never mind. But it just seems to me that when you have all of the pieces in place except for one, and you can go out and grab a pretty good size of the market and justify people spending the extra money to go to the other side, and you don't do it, I guess they have a real reason for it. And I've just been really curious what that real reason is. I really don't know. The only thing I can figure is that they don't compete where they can't dominate. And so that's maybe they feel they can't compete. So they work on other things. Now, the mobile market, I mean, they've for a long time owned the mobile market. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with the iPhone. They sure haven't had any exciting things going on there in the last 2 years. Because I've got an iPhone. I've been eligible for an upgrade for 3 years, but I keep using this one because I don't see anything worthwhile to switch over. Someone said, who, Andrew? Didn't you say that they were coming out with an iPhone 6 in November or something like that?
Probably in November, yeah.
Yeah, and there's this a Japanese guy that's already waiting in line.
Oh. Well, I mean, if that turns out to be something that's, I mean, I like the cameras in the iPhone 4S. I have a 4. I like the camera. I'm interested in that. I may stick with the iPhone depending on what 6 is. If not, I'm going to bolt. I'm going to go with something else. And I got to tell you, if I bolt, it's unlikely I'll be back to anything Apple. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It just doesn't have the magic for me that it does for Eric and other people who like simple things, I guess.
Well, it's fine if you want to drive a tractor trailer on the highway rather than a Corvette, Mike.
Yeah, but if you had, see, that's so wrong. That is so wrong. I mean, I could turn around and say, yeah, you're trying to take a Corvette and carry a load of freight. But you're not able to do it. I just want to look at
cat pictures.
Andrew, you wouldn't be able to eat if people didn't drive tractor trailers on the highway.
No, I mean the argument, if you're talking about a price point, right? That's why a lot of people don't like Macs, because they're expensive. They're not as expensive as people think they are. Number one. Number two, you're paying for the design, you're paying for the cosmetics, more than the hardware. You can get that hardware anywhere else, but there is no laptop that's prettier than a MacBook Air.
Oh, I don't think anybody would argue with that, especially for what is it, the Retina display?
And the Retina display, and you know what? For all the people that hate Apple, they changed the PC market. They changed the laptop market. I don't
know anyone who hates Apple.
Oh, I know a lot of people. A lot of people. I do a show primarily based on people that hate Apple and love Windows.
I understand that, but
you can love Windows and not hate Apple.
Yeah,
I like Windows and I don't hate Apple. I'm just fed up with them not doing anything new.
I don't love Windows. It works for me, and I'm satisfied with the product as well as you can be satisfied with it. But I'm no Windows lover. I'm no Windows fanboy by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we had a guy on here. What was his name, Amnon? The guy we had on here from Microsoft? Brent?
Which one? I mean, we had a few people.
We got a buddy over in Greensboro from Microsoft. Whatever his name is. We dogged on him pretty good.
Hey, Andrew, I would take exception to one of the things you just said about the MacBook Air. I would say that the Asus ZenBook UX31A is every bit as quality, good-looking hardware as the MacBook Air.
What was that model number again?
The UX31A, the Asus ZenBook UX31A.
No, I mean, listen, they're making pretty ones now, but before they did, it was all Apple started that. And what I'm saying is, if Apple had not come up with those designs, I guarantee the PC market would still be a disaster. That Asus is a pretty laptop. But when you look at the keys and you look at the color, you're saying, okay, well, that looks like a Mac.
The Chromebook Pixel, I think, was the model, wasn't it? That was something to knock spots off of other similar portable devices. Was it called the Pixel, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a Pixel, and they're supposed to come out with a newer one here pretty soon. But
and by the way, the specs on this laptop, it's exactly the same as the MacBook. Intel HD 400 graphics card, so it's the same card that Nick hates.
I don't hate the card.
The thing is, everyone is trying to compete and say, look, we can make that too, which unfortunately only seems to be what's happening now. I know that a lot of the manufacturers are building much higher resolution screens, but at the moment it's like a me too kind of thing. It's like, oh, get over it, for goodness sake.
And it's a dual core.
Same exact
Wow.
I mean, PC market is making the same garbage that Apple's making. I mean, there's no...
Right, but if you look at these, like this Asus that I'm looking at right
now... This is a total joke. I think if anybody was to buy this, they'd be stupid.
This UX31A, to me, looks exactly like a MacBook Air. Whoever came first, the second one is a copy. Now, did they come up with the same designs for the same reasons? Possibly. Was it independently designed with no exposure to what else is out there? No. Does it matter? No. But the point being that the limitation, Andrew is right, for a change. The limitations in the UX31A are the same as they are in the MacBook Air, and for the same reasons. They can't have a tremendously long battery life if they have extremely high fast processors and extremely powerful video cards. Both of those consume power. These units are designed for portability. They're not designed to be powerhouses. Again, that's why I think that my first experience with Mac was not a good one, because I bought the wrong computer. I bought a MacBook Air. And I loaded, what was it, Nick? I loaded the editing program, Final Cut.
Oh, Final Cut, yeah.
And everybody who had Mac laughed at me. So what do you mean you're loading Final Cut on a MacBook Air? Well, that's Apple's editing software. This is an Apple computer. I need to edit some videos. Oh, no, you can't use it on the MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I wasted $1,500. But that's okay. I mean, I think competition is great. Do I think that Apple has driven the market and made the Windows guys make better computers? No doubt about it. Do I think the Windows guys are driving Apple to make better computers? No doubt about it. And I don't think any Apple or Windows fanboy can deny that legitimately, but I could be wrong.
Nope. Eiffel is in the talk show chat, and she's saying, she's just listening. I still haven't worked around my Mac overheating.
I see here that Toshiba has announced a 5 terabyte, 3.5 inch enterprise hard disk drive.
How much is it?
They don't say. Let me see if it's listed anywhere here.
Hello, Eiffel on TalkShoe. Sorry, your laptop's still overheating. We need to get you on Skype as soon as possible, don't we? Yes, we do. Hug, by the way.
It's announced. No, it's just announced. It doesn't say.
All right. So, music streaming services forced to give from 60% to 70% of the revenue to the record industry will never be profitable in their current state, a new report shows. Unless the services can monetize their user base by entering new product and service categories, or they can sell themselves to a larger company that can sustain them. They're doomed to fail. One method that subscription services might be able to use to achieve profitability is to upsell mobile deals or bundles to subscribers. For example, a select package of mobile services would be sold through the music service provider, the report from Generator Research suggested. Services like iTunes, Match, and Google and Amazon are already heading in this direction, the report states. Another possibility would be for a larger company to purchase the music service, or for the service to begin offering sanitized user behavioral data to advertisers, who could then... The point is that anybody that's trying to do, and I guess they're talking about all the services that play music.
Yeah, like I think they're talking about like Pandora and stuff, right?
Yeah, and they say they're not going to be able to. They're doomed to fail.
I think
because
that
of the licenses.
I mean, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, right? I mean, you got into a market where you have to pay extreme licensing fees.
Let me share with you a music find that I have made. I don't think I've mentioned on the show before. I'll put the link in the chat. If you use the Chrome browser, there's an extension called Streamus. And a lot of people listen to music on YouTube. We all know that. You can find full hour and a half live concerts, albums, along with a bunch of singles of people's music. Obviously, the quality is going to vary from YouTube video to YouTube video. But if you use this Streamus extension, what it does, it gives you an opportunity to search for videos. And so you type in like the Civil Wars or the Beach Boys or Al Green or something else like that. It will find all of these YouTube videos, and you can build a playlist, save a playlist, and play just the audio from these YouTube videos in the background. It is a great service. No commercials, no interruptions. So it's great. Now, my sister here used to work for Bose. She had a couple external hard drives full of music, which I uploaded to my Google Music account. So, I mean, I do have the $36 a year Pandora One subscription, and I like that, when I'm traveling. But I can also have access and build these, instantaneous, spontaneous playlist on my Google music that I've uploaded and do that when I'm driving around. But this Streamus thing, if you're sitting in your office or your house, this Streamus extension is really quite nice. You might want to check it out.
Yeah, I just installed it, and that's actually pretty cool. But I wonder how long it'll be up for.
And there's been a couple times that I've clicked on it and it's timed out, not been able to get on there. So scalability could be an issue with this as well.
Yeah, it seems like I just searched something. It seems to be playing pretty well.
Yeah,
pretty cool. Thank you.
There's a link that I've put into chat there regarding the ongoing suit that Pandora has against it and what it's trying to do to rectify that from the New York Times. Quite an interesting read.
Talking about licenses and all that, do you remember last week when Spence played that video at the end of the show?
From the Olympics.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Can't do that. When I uploaded it to YouTube, I got a notice that it's licensed material, and you can't do that.
I've completely stopped uploading to YouTube in terms of like my podcast. It's just not worth it, man.
The automatic filters they do seem to be pretty good, but they also seem to be more erring on the side of caution than anything else.
So talking about YouTube, they removed 3 of my videos for duplicate. There's a duplicate somewhere, and there isn't. They're my videos.
There's a lot of duplicates on YouTube.
Yeah, well, what happens is, like, Andrew, somebody like just downloads and uploads your show, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, you're the duplicate."
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
Google are taking down hundreds and hundreds of thousands of links that they're being reported every single hour, probably. It must be a hell of a job.
Yeah, I mean, like I try to show gaming trailers. I couldn't do that if I was on YouTube. No way. I mean, they'd pull me right down, which I think is a joke.
What are you using now?
Daily Motion.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. It's ridiculous that like report or that the company, me talking about their game, they would pull my video.
Well, you remember the old days when they had like free advertising?
It is free advertising.
It is free advertising.
You know,
oh
free
my God,
advertising. People talking about
an
artist, a group, a film, a TV show, whatever it is. Free advertising. If it's positive, and if it's negative, well, fine. Take that as well and make whatever it is that you're making better.
Yeah.
Common sense, for goodness sake. You've got to second think everything before you kick your brain into gear these days.
I got one of my YouTube videos pulled, I think it was 2 years ago when I was uploading my show to YouTube, and I've never talked about the company since then because they just beyond pissed me off. So I will refuse to buy a game or talk about them ever again.
Quite right, too. Good on you for standing by your principles.
It's just like, oh, pardon me for talking about your game and saying that I thought it was good.
Yeah, in that case, I mean,
yeah,
you actually should tell everybody that, hey, we talked about that game and the company got pissed because we promoted them. Ah. Nick, I mean, you comment on this about the German court dismissed a reselling case in favor of Valve software.
Yeah. You want me to talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
So
Hey
this,
guys,
so this
I'm
is
gonna
really
run before
interesting.
you do that, Nick. I'm gonna go. I have to get ready
Alrighty.
for my day.
See you
All
later,
right.
Andrew.
Talk to you
Bye,
later,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you.
See you, Andrew.
So when gaming initially started, it was all cartridges, CDs, or DVDs. That's what it's been until the PC gaming thing had started. So, you know, I buy a game for the Nintendo Entertainment System that came out, I don't know, 30 years ago, and I played it. I sell it to Amnon, so it's got resale value, or I sell it to GameStop or something like that. And the big deal now with gaming is that people buy games digitally. Like, for example, I bought a game yesterday, completely digital, no disc, just paid with PayPal, and the game just started downloading. And people are really upset that they can't resell those games because they've been so accustomed to, buying a game for $60, playing it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, a year, and then turning around and selling it to GameStop. And people are really upset with Valve, who is the leader of online gaming on the PC. They've got currently 6.5 million people online on their Steam service. And people are really upset that they can't resell their virtual games. And it doesn't make any sense to me because Amnon was talking about this last night, and I said, if you bought a piece of software, let's say you bought, what did we use, Word, Amnon, or Office, or whatever bundle that is?
Right.
So if you bought Office and activate your product key, you can only activate it once, right?
Yeah.
So, and then that would be, so you activate your product key, and then you're upset at Microsoft that you can't turn around and sell that product key when you don't want Office anymore. So people are all upset that they can't sell games, but I mean that's just how it works on the internet. You can't turn around and sell a product key.
And these people actually file a lawsuit in Germany.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense to me because that's just not how it works.
It's all screwed up in Germany anyway, isn't it? I think they've just ruled that if you're an internet service provider or you're a host of whatever, you can be held liable for the people that are doing whatever it might be that's illegal on your site or via your service. How mad's that? So, one of your users could post a link to whatever it might be, and then you're liable because it's your service that they posted it on.
Yeah.
Well, that's just weird. It's obviously going to go to the European Court of Justice, but in the meantime, your name's been sullied and you're looked upon as being some kind of vicious, horrible, terroristic rogue.
So what was that story this week that Verizon is lowering their prices? And Kent is saying Verizon is now saying upgrade faster than with any other carrier. And let's talk about that. Are they actually lowering their prices?
They are responding to AT&T's. AT&T came out with a better pricing plan and data and everything, and Verizon had to respond. These are good days. I think competition is going to be good. I mean, it's like gas wars all over again. And, I think there are a lot more options available for people. And now that you can, you have situations like T-Mobile willing to buy out your contract. I mean, there's everybody's, shuffling around to try to get people on board.
Okay, so go ahead.
But I do agree with somebody else mentioned earlier in the chat about the best phone being the Nexus 5. I mean, I have bought my last contract type phone. I'll be switching to what a lot of my friends are doing right now, and getting something like a Nexus 5 and then going to wherever I want to move to.
Hey, so Bruce, when did AT&T lower their prices?
Earlier in the week, last week.
What did they lower? Because
I think they said it's unlimited for family. And
really?
It's $45 a month for unlimited
Yeah,
everything?
you can 4 accounts on an unlimited plan. I don't remember
Yeah.
the cost, but it also, instead of unlimited data, it's 10 gigabytes shared among the 4 users.
Oh, see, I already have that.
Oh.
Or did they lower the price of it? Because we had to move from a family plan. We have 4 smartphones. We had to move from a family. We used to all just have individuals, and then they pushed us to a family plan, and we do the shared data now. So is that cheaper, or?
I don't know what.
We don't know.
What
They
you're
announced
paying
it as
now.
something new this week, so
Yeah.
I can't imagine them announcing new, more expensive.
And I love
Yeah.
the commercial when the Verizon
Yep,
people
skip
are coming
past
in
it.
the store. What?
I skipped past the commercial. I just happened to see just the tail end of it while I was waiting
the
to run
Verizon
out.
people are coming in the AT&T store, and the girl.
There's
they
a nice
asked me-
little link about some comparisons between plans right now: Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile. Put a link in there, but
Wow.
Okay, so what they said is that they will drop prices for customers that sign up for a family plan on one of the company's next plans, which I would assume that means that since I'm already part of one, I don't get anything. These plans offer a new phone. It's similar to the thing where you upgrade every year. You pay installments on the phone instead of having the subsidized price.
Well, the thing is,
And-
whatever it was monthly, and it was apparently it's a big deal.
I guess so. It doesn't seem like it does anything for me.
Hello, Vance.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you too. What's up?
I was just going to drop in on Bruce's comment. I don't want to be a negative, but I have had the Nexus 5 since like the day it was released, and I'm not real happy with the phone. But maybe I've just got a bad one. But
Well,
back
tell us
when
why.
I entered into the Google Glass Explorer program, I needed an Android phone. So I searched around, and everybody said the 5 was the best, or the 4 was very good. So the 5 was coming out, I think, in a week or so. So I waited till the 5 came out, ordered it, and a couple of the things that are really the most frustrating about it is the phone is it's flexible. And I know that sounds weird, but I carry both an iPhone 5S and the Nexus 5 almost every day. And the Nexus 5, for some reason, when it's in my pocket, will twist just slightly. And when it twists just slightly, it causes the SIM card to unseat from one of the connectors, and it pops up with an error about 4 out of every 10 times, or maybe even more, maybe 50% of the time.
Wow.
And it says I have no SIM card inserted, so it has to reboot. And of course, as soon as you reboot, it sees a SIM card. But I found out that if I grab the phone and just kind of twist it with my thumbs, that I can force it to happen. Well, my iPhone, doesn't flex at all. It's more of a rigid
Yeah.
phone. But I don't want to get into that argument. But the other thing that really kind of ticked me off about it, Bruce, was that it's in the exact same pocket with my iPhone 5S. Front left pocket happens to be where I keep my keys. Okay, probably not a good idea, but my iPhone 5S, since the day it was released, has 0 scratches on the screen. And I thought that the Gorilla Glass that was on the Nexus was going to be better. And I wished you could see it. I've got it in my hand right now. It looks like someone has taken a flat blade screwdriver and scratched the whole top of the screen up. And I know it's my fault for having it in the pocket with my keys, but my 5S has 0 scratches on it, holding it up to the light. And those may be small things. The one other thing that kind of ticks me off about it is it vibrates every 10 minutes. And I can't figure out why. I don't know why. It vibrates every 10 minutes. It just gives a quick, bzz, bzz, just a real quick double vibrate. I've restarted it, reloaded it, everything else. And the one other thing, this is about 4 things that's been wrong with this one, is the Bluetooth syncing on it is atrocious. It just will not. In fact, I was on the phone for over an hour with the Google folks about Glass, and it would not sync with the Glass, and we had to reinitialize the Google Glass and the Nexus and everything else. Come to find out, it's the Nexus 5's Bluetooth that's having problems. It just doesn't like connecting to multiple Bluetooth devices. So I'm not saying it's a bad phone. I've had a terrible experience with Nexus 5. It's not an expensive phone. I think I paid $349 for it, I believe. And I liked everything about it until it started getting these gremlins. I say start, it had some gremlins from the beginning. But I've been less than satisfied with the 5. And I tried. Go ahead, Mike.
The point you're making, though, I think is extremely important. And that is that these devices are very personal devices. And many times the things that we don't like about them on the big picture appear to be very small. But if they're very important to us, then they're very important because we're the ones making the decision and we're the ones using the device. Case in point, you know I'm not a big Apple fan. However, there's one thing I really like about my iPhone 4 that has probably, and it's going to seem silly when I mention it, but it has probably kept me in the Apple ecosphere, and that's iChat. I think
iMessage. iMessage, sure. iMessage.
Say again?
Yeah. iMessage, yes.
iMessage, whatever it is, yeah.
Right.
I think that implementation of SMS is the best I've ever seen. I really like it. I like when I am in a text conversation with someone that I can see that they are answering me, and I don't just have to put the phone back in my pocket and wait to see if I'm going to get an answer eventually. That, to me, is a major time-saving feature, and that is probably the number one reason that I have not switched from an iPhone to an Android phone is because of iMessage.
And I would agree with that completely. I would agree with that completely, Mike, and it would be mine as well. You can text anywhere in the world as long as, someone has another iMessage device. Now, back to the Mac. You don't like that a lot, I know, but if you have a Mac laptop, whether it was your Air or whether it's Andrew's MacBook Pro or mine, it's very convenient to have iMessage running on that Apple device and still be able to text from the device. You don't think it's that big of a deal, but there's a lot of times that I respond to and communicate using Mac's ecosystem of iMessage. And I don't want to get into a big fanboy thing because I could certainly do that about Apple. But my point is exactly, Mike, that these devices are customized to what we need. I mean, I follow Bruce, and Bruce does a lot with Chromebook and the Chrome ecosystem and remote desktop. All that stuff I use it and love Chrome remote desktop as I do Apple remote desktop. But my point is more of, I bought the Nexus 5 thinking that it was the best Android phone that I could buy, and maybe I was incorrect about that. And I got let down by things that should work because I'm not being judgmental about a Bluetooth device that doesn't connect. I mean, it just doesn't work right. It's not just glass. It's Bluetooth devices for, I've got an OBD2 car monitor that's a Bluetooth device. It plugs into your car. It doesn't like to connect to that, to give me statistics on what the car is doing for monitoring. It doesn't like certain headsets. And once it gets logged into one, you can't easily, like I can on my iPhone, just switch between the Bluetooth devices. I think you're exactly right about we all fall into what we like and what we know. But on the same token, I try to be open about those things. And not to slam you, Mike, but I don't use, Final Cut Pro on my Air. I mean, it's just not enough computer. And
I agree.
Expensive.
I mean, my comment was not, I wasn't even complaining. I was complaining that I did not know. That was my ignorance. I'm not even dogging on Apple for it. I'm just saying that that's just something that's not communicated.
Yeah,
I don't want to dog on the Nexus.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Vance. And on the SIM thing, I would say, maybe you got a bad device because I've not heard of anybody with that issue before. But on the glass, of course, I've never used a screen protector since my Trio 180 days, and have never had any trouble with even my Note 2 right now. But I don't carry it. I carry it in a pocket that has nothing but the phone in it. But I have heard some issues, and this can happen with iOS phones too. They come out with iOS 7 or KitKat 4.4.2 or whatever, and there have been issues with Bluetooth devices, and they've had to do a patch to fix that. But I've got a friend of mine that he's not had any Bluetooth problems with with his Nexus 5. But I was mainly commenting on if I were going with a non-contract phone, that would be the one that I would choose, and I would work with any little idiosyncrasies I found. Another problem that people had with buying the the Google experience on a Moto X or the Nexus 5, if you use two-factor authentication and you've got a Google App business account, you can run into all kind of problems when you're trying to set that up. And, you need to turn off that two-factor authentication if you're setting up a new Nexus phone, and then turn it back on again afterwards, or you can have some issues. So, yeah, there can be problems for sure.
I just wanted to just to give the user experience of what I had on the 5, and maybe I did get a bad one. I don't know. I probably should swap it out and have Google just send me another one and see if it has the same troubles. But anyway, it's not being a hater on Google or the Nexus, because
that's fine. I mean, look, if if you hate the phone, that's fair. I mean, my wife hates her iPhone. She absolutely hates it. She doesn't hate Apple, doesn't know anything about Apple. She just hates her iPhone because there are issues with it, and the geniuses at the Apple Store can't figure it out. It duplicates her contacts and all that, and she just finally gave up and decided to live with it. But you know what? That's her experience is probably isolated. Maybe she's doing something wrong. Who knows? I don't think so, because we've been through it time and time again. But in the scheme of things, big deal.
Yeah. No, it is a big deal. If it were my only phone, though, Mike, I would tell you it would be more than just idiosyncrasies if it were my only phone, because it would really tick me off if it were in my pocket and the SIM card disconnected and I didn't know it, and I was expecting a phone call or a text or something.
Absolutely.
And, and I mean, so that would be something that would be tough to get over. If it doesn't connect with Bluetooth devices, well, I don't know. Like I say, I think I just have a bad one. It might have been the first generation. It was, obviously. I mean, I got it the first day they were available. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Enough about that. Yeah, I know. I do, and you don't.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I do, is I wait to hear your story, and then I decide whether to buy one.
I'm still in love with my Note 2, and I travel every month, and I'm in a different rental car every month. And my Note 2 is running 4.3, a Jelly Bean on it right now, and I have no trouble syncing with the Ford Microsoft Sync, or this week it's a Kia Forte, or maybe last month it was a Toshiba or a Kia Soul. So I think a lot of it has to do with, sometimes they throw out a new version of KitKat, and there are some issues that they have to address. So hopefully, they'll get that fixed.
Hey, Vance.
Yes, sir.
Quick question, and I may call you later about this. Do you manipulate ProRes files?
What do you mean by manipulate?
As in converted?
Yes.
All right, I'll need to talk to you later then. I don't think anybody here would be interested in that.
No, that's fine.
That's
fine. One other product note I'll bring forward. The new Jawbone. I don't know if folks like or hate Bluetooth devices, but Jawbone just released an Era, E-R-A, and it's a 2014 version. I've been a huge Jawbone fan. Everyone's seen the old commercial, I guess, where they had a weed trimmer, weed whacker, and a guy would walk up right beside of it, and it would be screaming loud, and he put the Jawbone in, and you'd hear the conversation of just him right beside of the loud equipment. They just released one that has a built-in pocket charger, and it's really slick. But they just came out with it about a week and a half ago or so. Strangely enough, they named it the same thing that it was named, in the last 4 or 5 years. So you got to be careful about getting the new one. But in my experience using it, it is the best. In fact, I'm on it right now. The best Bluetooth device that I've used.
How much?
And it $129 directly from Jawbone. Best Buy doesn't have it yet locally or online. But if you're a road warrior, what made me think about it was what Bruce said. He travels every single month, all the time, and if you need the hands-free operation, I would certainly suggest it, because it does work flawlessly with the iPhone and the Nexus when I can get the Nexus to lock in with it. But it is a good Bluetooth device if anyone's looking for one.
Nick, you might want to click on that link I just posted in chat. It's the Jawbone Era website. I'm trying to decide whether I like the way this website has been done. I've never seen one do this. The first 2 images are live action video, full screen. I don't know how long this would take to load. I don't know how mobile friendly it is, but I got to tell you, the website caught my attention.
PayPal does the same thing. If you've not been to PayPal.com,
no, I have a direct link to my account.
Hey, I caught a little bit late this morning, guys, coming in. But did you guys mention the Kickstarter hack that happened yesterday? That someone got in to their
No.
Okay, well, if anyone has a Kickstarter account, I would suggest logging into Kickstarter and changing their password now.
Oh boy.
They had someone physically, as I understand it, they physically broke into their offices at Kickstarter and stole data. I don't know if they stole servers or what they took, but it happened, I think, late yesterday afternoon. And so some of the G Plus community posted. I got an email directly from Kickstarter, and so I logged in immediately and changed my password. So if anyone has a Kickstarter account, log on today and change your password at the very least. So you can probably see that on some of the tech blogs.
Yeah, I put a link to the story in there. The credit card information was safe, but you do need to definitely change your password.
Right.
Wow. And it's hard for me to trust them when they say credit card is safe. I mean, after this Target thing, I mean, I would change it. Period.
I would be inclined, if they're going to do that sort of thing, to go over to Walmart and get one of their prepaid credit cards.
Just like the Target thing. Oh yeah, it was 7 million people.
Why is Google Wallet safer, Bruce?
Because it's just, for all practical purposes, it's prepaid. You move money to it, and all that they have access to is what you've moved to it.
Right.
You can use it anywhere you use a MasterCard, and it's only got enough money in it that you moved to it.
Yeah. But what if you keep a bunch in there?
Well, but I think, can't you also, Bruce, can't you link different cards to Google Wallet and then just turn them off and on randomly? I mean, at your will?
No.
So in other words,
no. You can only move money from an account to Google Wallet. You can't link cards to it. But like the Google Wallet app on your Android phone, it's so easy just to go there and move some money to it.
Right.
For a particular purchase you want to make. Some people see that as a drawback in some ways. Then you got this new coin card that you can. I think that's a Kickstarter project, if I'm not mistaken, where you can link a whole bunch of credit cards to this one device that's the size of a credit card. But with Google Wallet right now, you can only move money to it. You can't automatically link it to a Visa card or some other kind of card. So I move money from my checking account to the Google Wallet card if I want to use it, And I've not used it a whole lot. I've used it a few times just to kind of see how it works. I've thought about, like moving money to it to more specifically track business expenses on a particular trip. It would all be on my Google Wallet, but it's a novelty right now. But it would satisfy that prepaid issue that Mike mentioned.
Amazing.
Plus, it's kind of neat when you look at the cashier when you hand her a Google Wallet card, and she does this double take until she flips it over and sees the MasterCard logo on the back.
Well, I haven't looked at the back of mine. I haven't even activated it.
So, Vance.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a 4K TV over there yet?
No, I do not. I've been contemplating it, but I don't really have any. I don't have any sources yet. We're contemplating it at NAB doing NAB in 4K on the recording side, but I just don't know if it makes sense yet. So no, I don't have 4K yet. I think it's coming. I think it's unlike 3D. I think it's just around the corner. But I just file sizes, acquisition. I just don't have any sources.
what sources, what media providers are doing or going to do 4K that you know?
I don't know yet. Like I said,
Okay.
the acquisition and the source is the troubling part right this minute. On
But the
4K.
question that I
it's a
have
lot of
about
bandwidth.
that is when you talk about 4K with all the file sizes and bandwidth requirements, you've got these cable companies that are going to put in download caps at least eventually, supposedly, for starters. For second, the TV stations are only streaming in 1080i anyway, so they're not even taking advantage of all of the bandwidth that's out there. And everybody else is compressing the crap out of everything they're getting. So what good is 4K going to do but for movies?
Well, that's my point, Mike. Is that the source is difficult to get a source that you could realize it. That's exactly my point. So I haven't seen a need to do it yet. A raw 4K camera. They're still running. Between about the cheapest one's about $4,500, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense right now. But it's no different than the first 1080p camera. The first HD instead of ultra high definition. But I don't know. I think it was a big jump between standard definition and high definition. I'm not saying there's not a big jump now, but I just I don't see. We've got the HEVC codec coming, which is the H.265 compression that'll take those bandwidths or compression and keep the ability to keep 4K going on both ends. But that's still in its infancy. It's here, but it's
But it's not.
It's not right. It's cutting edge stuff. It's right on. It's not everyday common, like Mike's saying. It's you're not going to get it. We got the whole Comcast and Time Warner thing that is probably going to be a bad thing. If it happens. I just wish we could get some competition. We don't have competition now.
Well, that there is a gigabit effort.
Caps. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So in this area, I just question how much success they're going to have making it happen. I've actually communicated with one of the guys, and his answer was not very encouraging. But, I go back to what I've said. In fact, what is it now? I think that, and I'll tell only part of this story because I don't know the whole thing. Maybe somebody else knows the rest of it. But now, from what I understand, Time Warner has started doing their legislative crap in Missouri, too, so that they can try to put the skids on Google providing 1 gigabit growth and expansion in Missouri and Kansas City and so forth. They're trying to pass laws to prevent them from doing that like they successfully did in North Carolina. And now in Austin, they have 3 companies, it's either 3 or 4, competing for 1 gigabit internet service, including a little local company that's providing it to its customers.
I was thinking about it the other day. I guess Google doesn't care. They will not try to fight it. If they wanted to, they could have swayed via commercials and ads and things like that. You don't think so, Mike?
In North Carolina you're talking about?
Yeah.
All right, I got 2 answers to that. First, why should they?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
There's an infinite number of communities and states that welcome their involvement.
Exactly.
Why should they waste their time on North Carolina?
Yeah.
The second thing is that I think that the question probably underestimates the power of the Time Warner lobby.
I think that Google has a lot more money in their
I'll go back to the prediction I made 2 or 3 years ago. It's you make some decisions and then you get laughed about them. Some friends of mine made some predictions 30 years ago, and now they play them as jokes every year to show them how bad they were. But I still think at some point Google is going to provide 1 gigabit fiber to the home to the country for free. I think their entire existence and growth depend upon having a fast internet to the home.
And then companies are going to move out of North Carolina to places that have it.
Well, I think eventually, though, if see that now, let's see what I'm saying here is on this nonsense that got passed in North Carolina. Google can still come to North Carolina with 1 gigabit. We did not lose our ability to get 1 gigabit. What happens is that it's almost, in fact, this is interesting. I hadn't thought about this before now, but in essence, Google's plan to get 1 gigabit internet into communities is not unlike a Kickstarter campaign. And that is that if we can reduce the risk by getting the municipalities to participate and to help us make sure that we're going to be successful at this endeavor, then we're willing to accept the risk. We're not willing to just come in and do it by ourselves with no support or involvement from the municipalities. So what they're saying is that when we get this help, we're going to go out and do it. That's what Kickstarter's all about. There is a new Kickstarter campaign for a podcast convention to be held in Dallas sometime this year. It was Podcast Motion or Podcast something, begins with an M.com, where a bunch of people who got pissed off about NMX beating them to the draw decided to get together and do their own deal. So they did a Kickstarter campaign for this podcast thing, and it was fully funded to $11,000 in 24 hours. There's an awful lot of interest in it. And I talk about that to illustrate what I think is the comparison with risk assessment, in that somebody asked me, well, if this is such a big deal, why did they do a Kickstarter campaign? There are guys who are involved with this thing who have some resources. Why did they have to do a Kickstarter? Why didn't they just let it fund itself? Well, the reason is risk allocation. It's the first time they've done it, and even people with money don't like to risk it for no reason. Mm-hmm. If they can throw a Kickstarter crowdfunded campaign out there that covers the expenses for the facility such that they're not going to be on the hook for 20s of thousands of dollars because they're trying to put on a good idea, then I think the crowdfunding or the Kickstarter campaign makes sense. Google wants to look at North Carolina, and they said, we want to podcastmovement.com. What Google was doing is saying, okay, if we can get participation from the municipalities, then that lowers the risk threshold to the point that we're willing to come and give it a shot if a lot of other factors make sense. North Carolina said, screw you, so they went to other places.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Well, maybe one of these days. Vance, what happened with that 100 megabits? Did you ever get it?
No, I did not. Actually, DSL reports, Amnon says that Time Warner's not, and maybe someone has some more information, Time Warner is not providing it in the Raleigh area until March 1st.
Okay.
DSL reports has, I guess, some, like Mike would say, some insider, maybe even employees that they get some insider information. There are some campaigns of, higher speed, direct to the home access. But DSL reports did say March 1st. So I'll let you know once I get it. But it's rumored 10-100, so 10 up, 100 down, which
$105
a month. Still baffles me that the little town of Wilson has 100 by 100.
I heard they have gigabit.
We're right here at the Research Triangle Park, and still are talking about 5 and 50. But,
we're not important.
Well,
now is really interesting.
Let's look at that a little deeper, because what Wilson did is exactly what.
But nothing yet from Time Warner, to my knowledge.
You can't hear me. Sorry about that. What Wilson did is exactly what we've just been talking about, and that is the municipality says, look, all of our local industries have dried up. We need to find jobs for people who live here to maintain a viable community. We want high-tech jobs. The reality is you cannot attract high-tech jobs without a very strong internet infrastructure. That's a given. I don't think anyone would argue with that. That being said, from what I understand, the municipality petitioned The various companies said, do you want to build a high-speed network here? And they all said, nope, Wilson's not big enough. It's not worth the money. Wilson says, okay. Then in this green light in Wilson, and he said, then we'll do it ourselves, and which they did, put in this infrastructure. And I believe that what they did, the municipality sold it off to Greenlight. And if I recall correctly, Gary may correct me, but I believe that the municipality ended up losing money on the deal. It was not a good dollars and cents proposition for the municipality, which is what the politicians are arguing against in this entire Time Warner law that was used to choke out growth in North Carolina. But even that being said, the purpose, boy, we could get political on this one. The purpose of government is to support its citizenry. And economic development, if properly done, is a respectable, viable, important function for government to play. That is, maybe it's with telephone service, maybe it's electrical, it's plumbing. Do we want a bunch of private companies providing sewer? I don't know, maybe. But that being said, I think that the discussions we've had before are still important in that the internet is becoming more of a commodity than it is a fun play toy. I don't think businesses now, you can't have a business that does not have internet access. I don't know what it would be, maybe a woodworking shop or something, but I don't believe you can have a high-tech business that does not heavily depend upon a very strong internet infrastructure. And now Wilson has positioned themselves as a community they've got a workforce, they've got the infrastructure. If they don't bring in high-tech businesses, it's their own fault.
Hey, Spence.
Hey, good morning. I tried to call in on video and it kept saying busy.
We have a full house. You're not watching it. I can't.
Oh, I see his mic.
Do what?
That's because
I see his mic.
I know. He's got.
Morning, Spence.
Good morning. I was chomping at the bit to call in because I heard Mike's comments about the iPhone 4, and I just went through my upgrade experience this week. I'll tell you about it.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. So I remember last week I mentioned how they had the deal at Walmart that you could upgrade to a iPhone 5C for $49 with a $100 trade-in credit and a 2-year commitment. So, of course, I went to 3 Walmarts only to find out that no Walmarts in the area actually carry the iPhone, which is kind of bizarre. Plus, the one that I went to where I actually got to talk to a person, their upgrade system, which is common across multiple carriers. It's a special terminal that they use to log into Verizon or AT&T to upgrade you, was also down. So that wasn't going to happen. So as the week went on, I stopped by, I think it was after I had lunch with you, Amnon. I went over to Best Buy. And or did I already have the phone already? I can't remember what day it was. But I went over to Best Buy because they had an advertisement that said, $50 gift card plus trade-in credit for your phone. So I was able to get the phone I wanted. They said they would give me $75 for my phone, my old iPhone 4, instead of the $100. And I said, that's acceptable. And while they were going through the transaction, the guy goes, oh, the price on the trade-in credit for your phone went down. It was just $75 2 days ago. But to their credit, they still gave me the $25 credit. So I walked out with a new 5S 16 gig for $75. And
how do you like
all
it?
The things, what's that?
How do you like it?
I love it so far. I mean, all the things that I liked about the iPhone before are still there, but now I can use Siri because I had a 4 and I couldn't do it. And I tried voice recognition with the 4 to do certain things that were only things that were supported, like voice dialing. It never worked. It was so confusing. It never understood what I said. Well, now it actually works, and I can dictate. I can do speech to text inside a text message. I can do it on a search. I can do it on mapping software. So, give me directions to this address, and it works. I'm very happy with it. I'm glad I went with the S I like the fingerprint scanner because when I drive in the car a lot, it's instead of having to type in my passcode because I have it locked. I have it so the phone locks. Now I just touch the home button and then just leave my thumb there for a second, and it automatically puts in my passcode. So far so good. Very happy with it.
Vance, I have a question. I don't know if you heard the discussion earlier, but what is the next iPhone? I'm due for an upgrade, and I have heard no advance information at all about what to expect for the next iPhone. Should I wait? Should I go do something else?
Well, it depends. Can you hear me, Mike?
Not quite.
Can you hear me? Quite? Okay. You cannot.
Ouch.
Yeah, we're hearing a bunch of scratching.
That's most unpleasant.
Bigger screen.
Okay, how about now? Is that better?
Bigger screen was what I heard.
Better.
Sorry, I was playing around with my PR40 going into my iPhone while you guys were talking. So
Sorry about that.
yeah, no. So obviously nobody knows Mike.
XLR, right?
Yeah, XLR. But yeah. I just crazy like that. But anyway, the iPhone 6 edge-to-edge screen is the rumor. Much bigger. I say much bigger, but I think it's going to be September. So if you're ready for an upgrade now, yeah, and it could be somewhere between September and November. The 6 will come out. The 5S is it's been really solid for me, but if you can make it through until the end of the year, then I'd say wait for the 6.
Wouldn't you agree though that the 5S? I mean, what is this last event that they did? Don't you agree that it was quite anticlimactic?
It was. I mean, yeah, the whole gold thing, and it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, the C has been a disappointment,
but nobody hits a home run every time.
Right. But the S models always are. I mean, there always are intermediate year upgrades that are the same as the last one, but they're going to upgrade. Either
certain parts of it.
Exactly.
Well, so my question, I guess that's the gist of my question. Is the next release going to be a major release?
Yes. Okay. It is rumored to be, and the major release would be that it's going to be a larger phone, similar to, say, what they're doing with the Galaxy S4. So a larger screen, edge to edge without a bezel, that type stuff are the rumors, but no one knows. But from processing power, I'm sure they'll upgrade the chip, and but the main thing I think will be the screen. Apple's got a bunch of backlash for having a small phone. But, I guess they've always wanted you to be able to take your thumb in one hand and go from the left to the right of the screen. And on some of the larger Galaxy phones, it's tough to do that. Especially if you've got, small hands or a woman's hands or something, may not be able to do everything in one hand. So that was an argument they gave for not increasing the screen size. But I think the 6 is going to be a larger screen and edge to edge.
I considered when I upgraded just this week. I considered that. I looked at the 6 announcement, and I looked at what do I get if I wait? Actually, if I waited, I probably would just buy an even cheaper 5S than buying the new 6 because I know the accessories are always hard to get when it comes the first time it comes out. They're expensive, and
that's right.
So I went with the S now, figuring, well, I'll get an OtterBox case. It'll be a little cheaper. I would like to have waited till the fall, but I really needed to do it now because my 4, the home button, was getting really wonky. I had to keep cleaning it with alcohol. And
you must be doing something wrong. They just work.
Yeah.
And Apple already patented the square corners.
Okay, now on to other bigger and better things.
I'm waiting for the triangular phone, the 3-sided phone. Oh, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Andrew says that when the 6 comes out, you're going to want to get it. Well, we'll see. Look, you guys call me Apple hater, which I'm not. If I were an Apple hater, I wouldn't have an iPhone.
Well, the one thing about the 5S, Mike, that I really have I thought it was kind of a novelty to begin with is the fingerprint unlock sensor at the bottom, which is the home screen. So I do press the home button now, but just like Spence was saying that it wears out on the 4s and below because you're pressing it all the time to get back to the home screen. With the fingerprint sensor, you would think that it would be kind of a hokey thing, but once you learn, your thumb or index fingers, it's thumbs. I've done both of my thumbs and both of my left and right index fingers. It really is amazing. I pick up an iPad or any other device that has a home screen on it, even my wife's 5 that doesn't have it. I'm just laying my finger on it, waiting for it to open up, and it doesn't do it. So it's amazing how it gets mental. But I'm sure that some folks know this, but some may not. If you happen to have one of the fingerprint sensor phones like the iPhone 5S, you can retrain or you can multiply train parts of your thumbprint. I've heard some people complain, the stupid fingerprint reader doesn't work. It only works 20% of the time or 30% of the time. Well, when you initially set that up on the iPhone, it gets you to do it about between, half dozen times. About 6 times you press your thumb on it, release it, press it down, release it, press it down. And a lot of people don't realize that you can go into the settings, you can go to the sensor and relearn or multiply learn by just doing it 50 times. And you can just keep doing it. So what I've done is I've rolled, just like you would if you were getting fingerprint, not that I know, how they roll your fingerprint when they're taking your fingerprint. You can almost do the same thing. And it gets the algorithm learned in the phone to where no matter which angle or multiple angles you put your thumb on, it knows that that's your fingerprint, not just one place. So don't want to get into the weeds on that, but anyway, if someone has a 5S and they're having trouble with the fingerprint sensor, you can go into the settings and just start putting your thumb or finger on it, and you'll notice that finger lights up in the settings, and you can just keep doing it over and over and over and over again, and it makes it to where now mine's probably 95%. Every time I grab my phone, I just touch it, and just a little bit of a hint.
When I set mine up, it asked me more than 6 times. It was probably about 25 times.
Okay, good.
It kept saying more and more and more and more, and so I kept doing different angles, and maybe I was repeating the same one too many times, and it kept asking.
And it could be. But if you just try it sometime, if you get a minute, just go into the settings, go into accessibility, into the fingerprint, and you can just lay your thumb or finger on it, and it'll actually light up. If you've gotten 4, it'll blink once, and you can just lift it up, put it back down, and put another angle on it, up, down, up, down, up, down, and you can do it another 50 or 100 times, and it does help the reliability of unlocking, because it's really nice to be able to buy apps and songs on iTunes and things without having to type in your password every single time. It
looks like it supports more than one fingerprint, because it'll add a fingerprint. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's what I said. I have 4 of my own fingerprints, and I actually have 2 of my wife's. So you can have multiple fingerprints. So
interesting.
She can pick up my phone and unlock it with her fingerprint as well.
So I guess that means sometimes she doesn't have one.
No, she has a 5 but doesn't have the 5S. But but you can use, sometimes you pick it up with your left hand and you grab it with your thumb, and sometimes you pick it up with your right hand, you grab it with your thumb, and sometimes it's an index finger. So certainly you want to learn other fingers. But
well, what if you get kidnapped by the Russian mob and they cut off your thumb? So you got to have another way to do it.
Well, then, of course, you have to go back and use your 4-digit code to unlock it. And that's something else that, I guess you probably found this out. If you reboot the phone, turn it off and back on, you always have to start off the new experience of the reboot using your 4-digit login, just like you would on any of the prior models. So, and I don't use the face recognition on the Nexus 5. But, it's got the whole turn on the front-facing camera, and if it sees that it's you, then it unlocks it type thing. But I don't use it on the Nexus 5, but I'm sure a lot of folks do.
I remember back in, I think it was like 96 or 97, there was some software that we could install on the PC that will do image recognition. And it kind of worked. But you had to keep moving and center yourself there, and hold your tongue just right, and it would recognize you. That was weird.
Gary and I have been picking at each other in chat. He says that he hates carrying around big phones. The company that figures out how to reduce the size and still maintain functionality will win the race. Well, yeah, but that overlooks one major issue. Not everybody can see those little tiny screens. I mean, you're talking the same functionality. I'm assuming he's referring to, say, a web browser, which I rarely surf the web on my iPhone.
Right.
Because you might hit a few sites that are mobile friendly, but most of them are not. And of course, I'm only 3G, not 4G, and I just don't see it. I don't see making it smaller is going to be a major driver in terms of getting market share. Maybe I'm wrong.
He needs a watch, but even the watch goes to a bigger screen, right? Relays to a bigger screen.
It's amazing how much I can actually read on the phone screen. It's yeah. If you're not worrying about tiny screens, but if you make the phone smaller, the screen's got to get smaller.
I tried to, when I first went to do my trade-in, I tried to trade in a BlackBerry because Walmart was accepting anything, basically anything that worked. Pretty much. And my last BlackBerry from about 2.5, 3 years ago was eligible. So I brought that in. And after I powered that on and I made sure I wiped it, I was amazed. I said, I used to use that screen to browse. I couldn't believe it. It was so small.
They wouldn't take it?
No, they couldn't do the upgrade. They didn't have a phone. They didn't do.
But they would have taken it.
They would have taken it, yes.
Okay.
But I would, as it is, I stopped at 2 stores, called 2 more, and nobody had the phone. And the guy guy at the work behind the counter said, they tell me I don't sell iPhones because we don't sell enough of them. He says, but you're the 10th person that has walked in today on Sunday at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon to want to upgrade to the 5S. He says, but they tell me I can't have phones because I don't have enough sales.
But the bottom line is it was originally a Walmart ad, and they did not even know what you were talking about. Right?
Well, yeah, they didn't. I walked into the ad, and they're like, they're looking at the ad. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. They weren't familiar with it.
The ones that get me are the ones where they say, we just can't keep those in stock. Well, order more. Instead of ordering 5, order 10.
Yep, that's a good problem to have. Hey, Spence, did you have time to do specials?
I did.
All right.
Yeah, I was listening for a while before I got on. I was getting the specials together because I probably finished up. My family members left at about it's a little after 10:15 or so.
Awesome.
So, yes, I do. You want me to do them now?
Sure.
Okay. We have, let's see, starting with Office Depot, we've got an 11.6-inch HP AMD A6 touchscreen laptop. And the prices are coming down on these. And I got to believe it's because people just aren't buying them. Touchscreen laptops, I know Microsoft was hammering the PC builder saying the reason why Windows 8 wasn't successful is because you didn't build enough touchscreen laptops like you said you would. And the vendor said, we didn't build them because nobody wants them. And sure enough, that's the case. They're building them now, and now their prices are coming down. They're more available. Not sure where this is going, but so 11.6-inch HP AMD A6 touchscreen laptop, $279. Save $200. They've got a 17.3-inch HP AMD A8 laptop, not a touchscreen, for $349. Save $200. They've got an Acer 15.6-inch i5 touchscreen laptop for $449. 1 terabyte Toshiba portable USB hard drive for $64.99. Save $10. Keep that in mind when I get to Office Max. It's actually $5 cheaper. Brother Mono laser printer for $59.99. Save $60. That's a USB only connection, basic printer. They've also got a Brother Mono Laser printer scanner copier with networking and duplex printing for $99.99. Save $100.
Which one is that?
Hang on a second. I will tell you. It's the pretty basic one. It does not have a document feeder, but it's still a very good.
I bought I think it's the 5470 I got for my daughter, and which is the full duplex, and it's the upgraded printer and network capable, and she's really happy with it. She's in law school. She needed a laser printer instead of an inkjet, but it does not have a scanner on it. She has an inkjet that has a scanner on it, but I mean, so far so good. The initial reports are that it's a good deal. I think it was a $250 printer marked down to $199. Then they gave me $50 for an old junk printer. I traded in, and I had $28 worth of credits at Staples, so I ended up out the door for $120.
This is the HL 2280 DW, so it's both the duplex and wireless.
I think that's even an upgraded model, latest model, because the one I believe we were looking at before was a 2270, but I'm not sure about that.
So the only thing it doesn't have over the fax version is that it does not have a feeder. It's got a scanner,
and that can be critical for some people. So be careful.
Yeah, I use scanning more I use the feeder more for scanning and copying than I do for fax. I fax something twice a year.
Yep.
So I'll stick a document in there 4 or 5 pages and want to either scan it into a PDF file or copy it, and it's very convenient.
But anyway, $99. The point being $99 for that printer being wireless and network capable is a good deal.
Yes, and I'm not going to say anything about Brother because I'll probably jinx myself and something will go wrong. But okay, HP 20-inch LED monitor for $79, save $40. One last printer that I want to mention is one last Brother printer. Just a lot of good printers at Office Depot today. Brother wireless printer scanner fax copier inkjet with duplex printing, $59, save $40. And finally, they've got a HP wireless printer scanner copier inkjet with duplex printing for $99. If you like HP and that's the kind of supplies you like to buy, and that's $50 off. That's all at Office Depot. At Staples, they've got a Samsung. This is a good deal. Samsung 24-inch LED monitor for $119. It's $100 off the regular price. They've also got a 27-inch Samsung monitor for $99.99. Save $100.
A 27?
27-inch.
At where?
At Staples.
That's a better deal than the first one.
What's the refresh?
No, that's
rate on that,
$199 for the 27-inch.
Oh, you said $199. Okay, no, I think we missed
it was $119 for the 24-inch and $199 for the 27-inch.
Okay, I think I missed the one. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so Asus 15.6-inch i7 touchscreen laptop for $649.99, save $150. Dell 15.6-inch i3 touchscreen laptop for $399.99, save $200. So the touchscreens are really down there now with the price of regular laptops. Save $200. Logitech MK320 wireless keyboard and mouse, $29.99, save $30, half price. But hold on, because Best Buy actually has it cheaper.
And let me also interject at this point. If you buy anything with Logitech's name on it, you better save the receipt.
Yeah, I always put stuff away, save it. Make a copy of if it's one of those thermal receipts. Make a copy of it so that it doesn't fade from heat or something. If you get certain chemicals on it, it will destroy the. Or for example, if you spray it with some type of a solvent, it will just turn the whole receipt black. So be careful.
Do save them, seriously. But throw them in the box if you save the box. If you don't, put them in a file with a name on it. Because I have a camera in warranty that I'm going to throw in the trash can because I can't find the receipt.
What I do is I take the box from what I bought, I write on the outside the date I bought it and the date the warranty expires, and then I put the receipt in the box and I put it on the shelf up in the attic. And every so often, 6 months or so, I go up there and I'll take boxes off the shelf and toss them. But that way I have, if something was to go wrong and I'm going to send it back under warranty, I have the shipping box right there. And thank goodness I don't buy that much stuff anymore. So it used to be I had a lot of boxes.
What I usually do is I scan it in and then save it in my documents under a receipts folder, and then we just clear it out whenever the guarantee runs out.
I like the way, if anybody uses Square Trade, I like the way they do their receipts because you can upload them right away. I bought the Square Trade warranty for my phone, and within, they have a 1 day waiting period, and I understand why they would do that so people don't buy a warranty for something they just broke. But they will recertify some stuff, older stuff, or things that you buy on eBay have a slightly different warranty process. But I was able to scan in the receipt, sent it up to them, and within a few hours, I got an email back saying, "We have your receipt, everything's cool." So, good operation. Let's see, where were we here? Western Digital 2 terabyte USB 3.0 desktop drive, $99, save $10. 3 terabyte version for $119.99, save $10. And finally, a Brother printer scanner fax copier mono laser. This is essentially the same one I talked about earlier. $99, same price, save $100. So all the retailers are going to have it at the same price. Office Max now. That was all at Staples. Office Max, HP 10.1-inch AMD A4 touchscreen laptop. Let's call it a netbook. It's not a laptop. It's too small. $249.99, save $50. HP 11.6-inch A6 touchscreen for $279.99, save $200. Toshiba 1 terabyte portable USB 3.0 drive, $59.99, save $35. Brother mono laser with duplex, same printer again, $99. Brother DS620 portable scanner. This is a USB-powered scanner for $89, save $40. If you do anything where you're on the road and you have to scan, if that's what you're scanning in whatever documents you have to do to produce stuff when you're traveling, this is a great portable scanner. I have the one model earlier than this one. Very impressed with it. Works great. Logitech MK270 wireless keyboard and mouse, $19.99, save $20. Western Digital 4 terabyte MyBook, USB 3.0 desktop hard drive, $159.99, save $20. And they have a Dell 24-inch LED monitor for $129.99, save $70. That's at Office Max. And finally, at Best Buy, they have something we talked about earlier. This is the first time I'm actually seeing it in a store with an advertised price. They have something called the Leap Motion Controller. And this is a device that will actually learn, I believe it uses infrared, to learn your hand motions. Like you would lay it on the desk in front of you, connect it, I believe it connects through Bluetooth, and then you use your hand motion with software. You can either learn, or there are programs that are made specifically for gaming that lets you use your hand motion for controlling. $79. HP 20-inch LED monitor, $89, save $30. This was, I mentioned earlier, a better price at Best Buy. The Logitech K400 wireless keyboard and glide pad for $24.99, save $15, as well as the MK320 keyboard and mouse combo. This is $5 cheaper than Staples, $24.99, save $15. They have a Seagate 1 terabyte portable USB 3.0 hard drive, $69.99, save $20. Western Digital 2 terabyte cloud storage drive, $149.99. I have a 3 terabyte version for $179.99. A SanDisk 32 gig Ultra Dual USB 2.0 flash drive. And the reason I mention this, why it makes it interesting, is it's got both a standard USB and a micro USB interface. So it claims that you can transfer between phones, tablets, PCs, and Macs. So if your phone supports a micro USB connection, you can plug this in, and now you've got an external flash drive that you can copy to and from the phone, and then plug it into your PC and copy from there. So it could be handy. It's still USB 2.0, not such a big deal. And I forgot to write the price down. Bear with me. I'll come back to that in a second. They've got Chromecast is on sale, $5 off now, $29. And they've got a 15.6-inch Toshiba AMD touchscreen laptop, $399.99. That's the regular price. And I will tell you the price of that USB transfer device as soon as I look it up. And that is it.
That's more than enough.
Good stuff.
So that device takes all kind of hand gestures?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, it's very handy when you use it. You can use it in your car. You can put a LCD screen in the back window. And when you want to flip somebody off, you do that on the seat, and it shows that in the back.
Yep.
So
One
that
other thing.
32 gig SanDisk USB flash drive is $29.
Wow.
Regularly $59, so it's $30 off.
What are you holding in your hand, Mike?
This is something I bought. I've bought several of these, and I recommend them if like me, you end up with extra hard drives. For example, sometimes I'll fill up a 2 terabyte drive.
Oh.
I want to store stuff on it, but I don't want to maintain it in the computer. I'll get another drive to start storing additional backups on there just for redundancy. It's not exactly an intelligent backup plan. But what I've done several times now, including this past week, is I've been over to Intrex and purchased this little device, and all the companies have them. I think, as far as I know, probably the big box stores have them. I know you can get them on Amazon and so forth. But what this is a 3.5-inch hard disk enclosure 3.0, USB 3.0. Meaning that the drive I took out, I can install it in this enclosure. It become a USB 3.0 external hard drive, which allows me to immediately access any of the files on the drive. If I decide to eventually wipe out some of those files because I don't want them anymore, now I have an additional USB external drive. And again, if you buy one of these plus a hard drive, it's cheaper just to buy a USB hard drive. But if you already have the hard drive and you are looking for an interesting solution, this one is kind of fun to use. This particular one is $23. I imagine they can be purchased for a lot less in other places. Intrex is not real cheap on some of their things.
Why not a drive dock?
And that's fine, too. But the problem with the drive dock for a lot of people, Amnon, is they're handling the bare drive.
Okay.
And there are issues with regard to static electricity and things. I just don't think it's a good idea to regularly handle them. For the tech work that you and I do, yes, we handle them, and I have one. But this is a permanent solution, whereas that's a temporary solution.
Okay. All right. Good.
Interesting, Mike, how it says portable on it.
And you know what? That's not really true, because it is a misconception that you should use an external drive as a portable drive.
Yeah, because the drives, the duty cycle on those drives are not rated to be moved.
No.
And
Generally speaking, over here in the UK, if it says portable, it usually means it's a 2.5-inch drive rather than a 3.5-inch. It's desktop if it's 3.5 inch.
Yeah, it's the same thing
exactly.
here.
But I suppose it's portable. If you've got a hand, you can pick it up and carry it with you.
No. What they're saying here, it's a portable enclosure.
Right.
That when there's no
Yes.
drive in it.
if there's no drive in it, it's portable.
Right. You can carry it around until you put a drive in it.
Yeah.
Hey, let me show you something that's been a lot of fun traveling on this trip. You perhaps are familiar with the XBMC or Plex. You can run a Plex server, and you can use it to serve up all your media content. One of the things I discovered about Plex is that you can share your Plex server. You can add somebody as a friend, and you can share your Plex server. So I've got 3 friends that are sharing their Plex servers with me, and so I'm down here in Florida. I have the Plex app on my Note 2. These guys have got thousands of movies, TV shows, British TV shows. Even one's got a folder of Norwegian TV shows with English transcripts on the bottom. But anyway, it's just really neat. So there's a Plex app for my Roku that I use when I'm home. But I'm at my sister's house. They have an Apple TV. And so they purchased the Plex app for $1.99 from the iTunes store, put it on their iPad Retina, and were able to. And I logged in on my Plex account, and we've been able to cast to this beautiful 52-inch Samsung TV these movies and everything. So I really like Plex and highly recommend it, especially if you've got some friends with some media content that they're willing to share their server with you. It's nice when traveling.
So, Bruce, if you connect to more than one Plex server, you're now in a multiplex.
Yeah, right. When I go to shared channels, I see these three people. I see all of their folders. You know, so you know it's great. It works perfectly.
Is it PLEX?
PLEX, correct. And of course, the real benefit is if you know some people who are running Plex servers and they're willing to share access to those, that makes it even better. And of course, you know, if you know, some of these guys have got just tons of, you know, ripped DVDs that they've purchased over the years. Some of them are really big into, you know, media servers and stuff like that. So
I wonder if you set up Plex, say you have an iPad at home that has a bunch of content on it, and maybe an iPod Touch that has content on it. Do you have, once you start running the app, I guess it stays active then. It doesn't sleep, or does it run in the background? That would be good.
No, the Plex server would be running in the background if you have it set to start when you boot up your computer. It'd be running on your Windows machine or wherever, a Linux box, wherever
so
you
the
have
Plex,
it.
you don't actually share the content from the tablet, or you?
No, you share it. It's shared from a Plex server.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. There's a really easy Windows application. It's really, really basic. You just select what folder you want to share. I use it to share stuff to the Rokus around the house, and it works really well.
Does it have any issues with getting out through the firewall? Do you have any?
No,
I've never used it outside of my house, but I would imagine if you just port forward, there's probably not an issue.
So, Bruce, you're connecting to other people's Plex servers that must be going through firewall.
That's correct.
Yeah.
This was a perfect segue. I wanted to talk about cord cutting, and what are the cons and pros, and basic cons and pros to cut the cord. So who wants to take that?
I'll give you the first big con,
Okay.
and that is non-tech people don't always feel comfortable navigating things like Rokus and Chromecasts and HTPCs. It's for old people. It's really easy just to pick it up the remote control and go to channel 1105.
You think it's easy going to channel 1105 or 2357? Man,
I do.
When I know people that have switched from cable to satellite, they go crazy trying to figure out the channel numbering system. It's a zoo.
Right, but I understand, and I know what you're saying, and I agree with you that it is a zoo because of the number of channels. But the reality is that my 88-year-old mother-in-law can still press 4 buttons and get to a satellite channel. Right. She doesn't have to go in and switch between input sources on the TV to be able to get to the Roku, and then switch from that input source to a different HDMI input to be able to get to the Chromecast and that sort of thing, or to have a laptop to be able to access the Chromecast to be able to program what she wants to watch.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying.
Right.
Bruce, how does Plex work with iTunes library?
You know, I
Does
don't
it
know.
work?
I've not used iTunes for quite some time, but you know, it. So I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, I guess if you import something into your iTunes library, you're still going to have the original version of it.
Correct.
There anyway, so you're just sharing that folder, so it wouldn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking if you bought music on iTunes, it's going to sit there in the Apple format unless you export it as an MP3 or something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the guys that share their servers, they have music folders with music on it. They also have photo folders with photographs in it. You can serve up all different types of media with Plex or XBMC or any of these other, options that are out there.
I wonder what the reaction is going to be, or it has been, from a licensing perspective on this. If you're sharing it from not among family members.
I don't know, but you might want to ask Steve, who has his fingers in his ears saying la 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 la.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm trying to keep quiet here. Isn't it strange that the majority of entertainment industries they actually pronounce the word sharing wrong, don't they? That they pronounce it stealing.
Yes. Yeah.
Very strange.
That's a good point.
This is I really like this. What I'm reading about Plex here is really quite good.
Yeah.
Spins.
$3.99 a month. Yes.
Aaron has been a cord cutter now for years, right?
Yes. He's been, for several years. In fact, we're interrogating him because of deciding what we're going to do when we are away for 6 months. Do we just bring my Roku with me and my iPad and take it from there, or not sure what we're going to do.
What does he do for news?
Oh, he watches all the different news channels. He streams them.
So everything in our area, I mean, all the local stations.
Oh, he can watch local stations over the air. So.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
If he wants to watch WRL, like lately, what's the past week with all the coverage of the snow and all that, it was all just over the air.
So how does he? What is his setup?
He has a Apple TV,
right?
And he's got a Mac connected also to the television, and that's what he uses as his access device for web-based stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's about it. And he's got connected to a HD TV and a sound system, and he uses the Glide Pad. He has a little Mac touchpad that he uses as his interface when he's sitting at the couch.
So he's got Netflix or
Netflix, I think. Not sure. I think he has Hulu Plus also.
And he's happy with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep, he's happy. I mean, maybe he doesn't get to see the latest versions of shows. Like for example, if you do a binge catch up, you watch a series on Netflix that's been out for a while, and you can watch everything up to the current season. Mm-hmm. Once you get to that point, it's like everybody's watching that show on television or on cable, but you don't get to watch it until it comes out on Netflix.
So when it's summer, you're still in the fall.
Yeah. So if you don't mind that, I mean, there's just a ton of stuff to watch.
Sure.
I mean,
there's a problem with when they're putting each season on at each continent, isn't it? I was watching a talk show yesterday where there was a woman over promoting her film. And on the film itself, there's this English actress who's also in Downton Abbey. And you're only on season 2, I believe, in America now. And they're already showing season 3 here. So the actress was asking the English actress, like for hints, but don't actually tell me what's going to happen because I haven't seen it yet. And that is the biggest ridiculous thing, really, isn't it? When you've got, people in Australia, they've got to wait a year before that next series comes on, and to not find out about it and not sort of be talking to your friends, and then for people to say, "Oh, spoiler alert," before they say anything, it's just insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just go to a blog or something where somebody's talking about a show and find out that, oops, I found out that so-and-so gets killed at the end of series 3 or whatever. So
yeah, ruins the whole thing, doesn't it? It's I wish they'd wake up and smell the coffee and the tea and the Coca-Cola and all the other blooming beverages.
Speaking of online series that's only available online, I still question why I watch this, but I watch House of Cards. And it's a Netflix original production. It's only available on Netflix. And you wonder why. And I'd say this about several series that I watch. Why do we watch shows and enjoy them so much when they're about such bad people? like Breaking Bad,
yeah.
And like Sons of Anarchy. And these are bad people. They don't hesitate. to do the most awful things, and yet you're captivated by these shows. It's just, I started watching something called The Americans. Does anybody watch that?
Yeah, The Americans with a K.
Yes, it's about deep cover Soviet agents in the 1980s in the United States. They've been put there for like 15 years. They've been living there as deep cover. And just don't hesitate. Watching the show the other day, and they're out there trying to do something clandestine, and a neighborhood security guy comes up and says, "Hey, folks, just checking on you. You need to run your license plate, and I've got orders now to check everybody out." So she doesn't hesitate to pop him in the head and then get rid of his body.
Bruce, you were going to say?
No, I see nothing.
Oh.
I know nothing. I think a lot of it is to do when it is an evil character like that, and I think everyone can relate to it, because if push came to shove at the end of the day, if you and your family or your life was, threatened, or you felt that, that's it, I've got to do something to get me out of this situation, every single one of us would do what is necessary to survive, and that's all it is.
I just take great comfort
instinct.
that Jack Bauer is back.
Start and win. I heard that.
It's funny how I watched. I like to watch a show called Sons of Anarchy, and I started watching it. And the darker and more grim it got, I was like questioning whether I was going to continue to watch it. And then I heard the producer and creator of the show talk about how the whole show is Hamlet set in a modern setting with a motorcycle gang instead of the King of Denmark or whatever it is. And I said, "Oh," and that made me feel better about it, because I'm realizing that no, this isn't typical people. I hope.
Mike, to go back to cord cutting, and it's easier to go to 1257 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a few years ago, got a USB stick that said on it 16,000 radio stations. Well, all it was bookmarks, right? Well,
Yes.
There's a perfect thing for somebody to build a website that would have, you would go to the state and the city that you're in, and there'll be the TV stations that stream will be there, and you really don't have to do anything except click, 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 and you're on your favorite station. So it's almost like you can do it with a remote. That's fine with somebody who's not technical. I mean, they know how to surf. What do you think?
Well, look, you're saying that there will be technical solutions to these problems, and I would agree. But I'm talking about in view of the way things are today, right now. I mean, it's even to me, it's a pain to have to switch between the various things, but you get used to it. But right now, that's a con.
Spence, how much money does Aaron saves a month?
Oh, I don't know. I know he buys like a mid-tier of cable modem access, so it's not the cheapest one. It's not the most the highest speed one. So he's probably paying $60 a month for that, and then he pays for Hulu, which is, I don't know what that costs per month, and Netflix. So it's probably less than half of what it would cost if he had cable service. He does not have a home phone, just has cell phones. So he's not doing phone service. I was debating, I'm probably going to take my UMA box with me to Alaska too, depending on what kind of hookup I get there.
But just remember, Amnon, with all this cord cutting, whenever these cable companies and internet companies put in caps, the ball game changes.
Yeah, that's the other side of it, is that's going to push them toward caps.
Oh yeah,
and because they make their money on this, make their money charging you for QVC that you never watch and these shopping channels. They get paid for doing that. And then they offer it to you and use it as justification for the ridiculous prices they charge for their cable service. Whenever you can essentially go to an a la carte system by cutting the cable, it's not going to sit well with them.
I wouldn't care if it doesn't sit well with them, but when they
You
start
will
trying-
if they don't give you an option.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, just like they said in Jurassic Park, nature finds a way. With this cord cutting thing, there will be somebody who will find a way to get
I
beyond.
keep saying that I believe that Google is going to provide 1 gigabit fiber to the home for everybody in the country for free.
So
Did you see the report that came out this week that IBM developed a new ADAC, a analog to digital converter that they're predicting that will enable 400 gig? I think that number is probably way out there, but they
It's
said
a
it
laboratory
will.
number.
It makes the analog to digital conversion process so fast that the new types of devices that will come out for that are going to be exactly what Google needs to really push this out. Much cheaper.
Steve, tell us about this. Hyperlinks are not illegal.
Yeah,
Steve?
basically what it's saying is if the EU highest court is just European Union, in case you were still half asleep being Sunday morning, it is basically ruled that as long as the file that is being linked to by a hyperlink or it's being shared, whatever, as long as it is freely open to the public already, then linking to it, which an awful lot of sites do, that their users post a link to a video, whether it's on Vimeo or Dailymotion, whatever. If it's a freely public available link that you can get to and it's not behind, say, a paywall, then it's not illegal to link to it. I think they're going to have some great fun with the various countries around Europe, which are at the moment, their laws are currently saying, oh, yes, it is, because, it's the highest court in the EU. So something's going to really hit the fan.
So why? Somebody's saying that to link to a file could be illegal?
Well, no, that's basically what they're saying is they've shut loads of sites down, haven't they, that where the author or the person that owns it is saying, that's our content. We haven't authorized that you can put a link to that or have it. The reason it kicked off was basically the online magazines and newspapers in France were saying to Google that you're linking to our news stories and we should be paid for that. It went to court and it was ruled in Google's favor as, well, no. So they appealed it and took it to the European Court of Justice, I think it is. I can't remember which one. There's a couple anyway, but the highest one anyway. And they've come back and said, well, no, it's a publicly available content anyway. You've put it out in the public. It's not behind a paywall. Anyone could, just happen across that page just by going to your site and looking for it. So no, you shouldn't be paid for it. And what that's done in effect is opened the door to say, well, if it's already out there in the public and it's not behind a paywall, or you've got to be a specific member of this site, whatever, to get to it, then it's hyperlinking to it or putting a link on your blog page or something is not illegal, which is brilliant. I mean, the entertainment industries are going to absolutely hate it, but tough luck.
All right, I got to go, Amnon.
All right. Yeah, we come to the end. Unless
what a wonderful thing to finish on this week. That's great, isn't it? Some good news for general public for a change.
There you go.
Nick?
Yes.
Tell us what you do every day, other than school.
What?
Other than school, what do you do every day? What is Nick Craig Digital Designs? Come on.
The same thing I did last week. I create websites.
Nick creates websites.
Not much has changed.
Nick creates websites. He is a WordPress specialist. He creates Roku apps. He hosts. He does a lot of stuff. He edits videos.
But one thing he definitely doesn't like doing is promoting himself.
Yeah,
no,
it's always hard
that's not
to
true.
Do.
That's not true at all.
It's hard to do. I know.
No, it's not hard to do. It's that it's the same thing every week. I mean, there hasn't been any
repetition
innovation.
is how you become successful.
you'll catch that one person one day that goes, I'm glad I listened to that show because
Yep.
I came in contact with Nick and now you're a millionaire, mate.
Exactly.
So we want you to hurry up and get rich because we want to borrow some money.
Yeah,
And
just don't
Vance,
forget your
are you
friends.
still with us?
I am here, yes.
Tell people what and when is your show?
Studio Tech. StudioTech.tv is on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern live. You can catch it on YouTube and also 7 p.m. in the UK each and every Tuesday. So we talk about the new technology, video, things to make new media work over the internet. So not necessarily cord cutters, but how to get your message out to the public using some high-tech stuff. So that's a lot of fun. If I don't know if you guys mentioned it earlier, but one saw the experiment that our local, I was thinking as you guys were talking about cord cutting and local television, how the younger generation now gets their local news on, and it would be, by mobile phones and laptops and everything. But you guys may have mentioned that WRAL did the Google Glass behind the scenes. If you haven't seen any of that, some of the geeks in the crowd may really enjoy seeing that. It was very, very low frame rate. The video was horrible. It's not anything like you see on Glass, but I would encourage you to go to WRAL.com and take a look at the behind the scenes of that, because you can actually see the entire newscast of how a local high definition station works each and every. They did it for 4 days, this past Tuesday through Friday. And to me, the most interesting one was in the control room. I think it was either Wednesday or maybe Thursday morning. But it's really amazing to see what they do behind the scenes. So check that out. But they did say that it was 6 hops from Google Glass, to going to air, which blew me away. I can't figure out why it took them that many times. But anyway, so check out things like that, because I think the cord cutting will be the future. And like Mike said, the big thing's going to be the bandwidth caps that we're going to have to deal with. So,
Yeah.
By the way, Vance, if you go over there, they probably will give you an in-person tour.
well, and I'm going to do that, Mike. I've actually got a friend, a girl that grew up just down the street from me that's been there for like 30 years. So I will certainly do that. And but I'd love to do that. By the way, I found out that they bought their Google Glass on eBay for $2,000 just to do this experiment.
Wow.
And it was pretty neat experiment. If you didn't catch it each morning this past week, then it would be good to go and
I
just
saw one of them.
click
I
back
don't
through.
watch them.
Yeah, the video is horrible, but the experience of what they do in the background is pretty neat. So get away from the frame rate in the video, but you can see what they go through every morning and timing and how they have to cut things, live. It's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Anybody else has any?
Yeah, Bruce needs to tell us where his internet online presence is.
All right. Thank you. I've been doing Morning Manna podcast now for just over 5 years. You can subscribe to Morning Manna via iTunes, or you can check out our website, morningmanna.com. I do an Android show called Android Journal on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. I'm a panelist along with some of the other tech and coffee guys. Just starting up a brand new YouTube channel. I've been putting together these little things called Turner's Tech Tips. Right now they're on my regular YouTube channel, but I'm going to be downloading them and pushing them to a separate channel for that. It's just a lot of fun using XSplit, doing some quick and dirty 5 to 10 minute screen captures of some different things. Like I did one on Streamus. I did one on how to do audio podcasting on a Chromebook using twistedwave.com/online, some other stuff like that. And within a couple of weeks, me and my good friend Duke Carrico are going to launch a show about Chromebooks. And the unique thing about it, we're going to produce the show using just the Chromebooks. And so anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I love tech. And
What time of the day?
Pardon me?
What time of the day are you going to do the show?
We haven't decided time and day on the Chromebooks. Android Journal is Tuesday nights at 7 p.m., Hangout on Air, and then we do a Tech News Week on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Both of those are Tech and Coffee productions. So,
All right. Good. Thank you. Okay. Well, good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Vance, Spence, Steve, thank you. Bruce,
Thank you.
Mike, Nick,
Amnon?
Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is growing nice. Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, is the Health In Show with Debbie Brock right here on Nissan Communications. Bye now.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Brook, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, and if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.